Please, leaders of Nigeria, we are begging you people, our children are in the bush. I tell my son, if he no fit come back home, God will feed us. My husband do army work, 36 years. 36 years. They never encountered this thing. But small children are suffering in the bush. Now take our children, they make money. Nigeria leaders, it will never better for you people. It will never better for you people. I tell my son, if you no fit to come back home, no be by force. Make I even see is my son dead body. Nigeria leaders, Nigeria government, please do something about our children that are in the bush. Please, I'm an old soldier wife. My son joined army. He dey inside bush crying with red tears. Please, Nigeria, we are begging you people, make na no leave. Make na no leave our children die every day. Please, please, and please, make na help our children. They are suffering in the bush. Now they sell our children, they make money, and then they are dying in the bush. Oh God, the God of revengeance, revenge for our children, revenge. I'm speaking this thing with heartbreak to see a soldier crying like this. God, where are you? God of revengeance, please rise, arise. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me. My husband do 36 years for this army, but still, till today, in remaining money, they not pay for and say if they pay, soldier go useless the money, then give her half of the money. Till today, my husband money is still there, hang in their hands. God of revengeance, the God of widows, will stand for me, he will stand for my pikin in the bush. Nigeria government, it will never better for you people. It will never better for you people. It will never better for you people. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Rudolph Okonkwo. Welcome to another episode of 90 Minutes Africa. Happy Mother's Day if you are a mother and you are in Nigeria and some parts of Africa and the United Kingdom where they are celebrating Mother's Day today. In this episode of 90 Minutes Africa, we have a special guest joining us. Her name is Adesewa Josh. Most of you know her from Channels TV, where she was an anchor for some years, about 3 years. And later on, she came to America and studied at Columbia University. From there, she went to TRT World in Turkey, where she was a creator and producer and also the presenter of Africa Matters for 3 years. She has a new project now called the Grannies Podcast. So she will be joining us to talk about capturing the stories of grandparents and fostering generational understanding. Very important conversation we are going to have. And let me give you a snippet of what the new project looks like.
in your life when you don't have time to be lonely. This is important. You're so busy. I was so busy. I had 2 growing children. I had a major full-time job that I worked twice as hard as everybody else because being a woman in the 60s and 70s at Yale University, you couldn't just be good, you had to be great. And I worked every minute, and I thought of myself as having wall-to-wall obligations. It was a rug, wall-to-wall rug. There was not a minute where I wasn't needed for something. I rushed home to make dinner. My first husband wanted his dinner at 6 o'clock. I had 15 minutes between getting home from work. I cooked Chinese food, stir fry, and on and on and on. And so the question of having some time on your own just to reflect, walking to work was my time. So there's a balance between having time to be with yourself and to think and being lonely. And for me, being busy all the time was also a burden.
All right. So the Grannies now being seen from today is going to be shown on US cable channel here in Manhattan. And it has a potential of reaching about 20 million people in America. So please join me as we welcome to the show, Adesewa Josh. Welcome to the show.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for
you?
having me here. Thank you. Wow. I was listening to the introduction. I was like, have I lived that long?
Have you not? You've accomplished a lot, welcome.
When you're running a marathon, you don't have time to look back. So
yeah, that's the way it is. Welcome to the show.
The
last time we had you here was long ago, more than 4 years ago. Then you
was it 3? Yeah, I was in Istanbul.
Yeah.
I
So
remember that was a good one. It's been 4. Are you sure it's not 1 year?
Three. I think it's about 4. I have a video of that. I will play that later on. So
have I started my projects in TRT then? I can't remember.
Yes. You had this book you wrote that you came
yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, when you're just a doer, you just keep doing, I love to create. You just keep creating and I mute myself. I mute the noise around me and I just do. And it takes people to tap me in, or things happen and you're forced to look back just a little bit to see, okay, look, we've covered quite a bit. You breathe and then you keep going again. So yeah.
All right, let's start. We normally start the show by talking about issues around the world in Africa, and then we bring it home to Nigeria. So let me start with the war in Iran. I'm sure you've been following.
Oh yeah.
For most of us, Nigerians are invested in it, either because they think that they have religious affiliation with one group or the other, but for some reason we are invested in what's going on there. How are you looking at what's happening?
The world is a global village in every sense of it, and this war proves it. Because when it started, a couple of people were saying, oh, well, it's far away, it's all the way down there, it's not going to touch us. It turns out, even when the war in Ukraine started about 4 years ago, we were buying grain at a higher price. A lot of people didn't know the bulk of the grain they were eating was coming from Ukraine. Suddenly when world events like war, especially war happens and it disrupts global supply, that's when you realize who is your most important neighbor. That has nothing to do with living just right next door to you. So that's what the war has proved to everybody, that we are so interconnected in a way that you couldn't possibly imagine. I mean, I was reading the other day that Iran is if not the second, but the first, please fact check me, highest producer of helium. And helium is needed in chips. And all of a sudden, chip manufacturers are panicking now because all of a sudden, Iran is not just a country where Ayatollah Khamenei was trying to get people to not do whatever, but getting fashion police, I hope that's what they call them, to get people off the street or suppress people. That country was much more important than the poster stories you get to see, especially in Western media. So suddenly you start to learn more about a country and how it is important to you and important to your pocket. So it's a global event, and I think that um, when I look at how every other world event disrupt the world, disrupts our daily activities, and yet a war like Sudan, a war like in Sudan, the DRC conflict, and a couple other conflicts in Africa just appears to not be anybody's problem. It's because we haven't strategically positioned some of the things we have into how the world economy and how the international community works, such that if Nigeria is ailing, I think that the rest of the world should be sick along with it, because you have oil, because you have all these natural resources. That is what somewhere like Iran has shown us. But I look at how, the DRC, you need the natural resources in DRC. The rest of the world depends on it, but they've been killing each other for so long but somehow manufacturing is going. Nobody's saying, oh, we are disrupted, or you see how we're not strategically putting what we have in and putting the right checks and balances in place, so that if we are not feeling well, the rest of the world should stand still and make sure we get better before they can get better too. We'll talk about that later. That's strategically positioning as African government, as African people.
So, in terms of what's going on there, we people, foreigners who were living in the Middle East, they are leaving now. There were Nigerians who were stuck there. Nigeria is trying to get them out. What is it that people like us who have not lived in that place do not understand about the people of the Middle East?
Look, again, fact check me. There's a part of the scripture that says if you're going to look for, if anything is going to happen and affect the rest of the world, look to the east. I don't know if you've heard about it.
I'm not good at that.
Okay, I tell you, look to the east.
Yeah.
Some of the most thousands of years of civilization starts from there. It's just, I don't understand. It's just that those people don't shout about what they have. I was listening somewhere about how the rest of the world, or whoever is engaging in this war, allegedly thinks that Iran will just go out like that. You're talking about thousands and thousands of civilizations, country that has existed way before some of these other countries. Iran, apparently, the people who discovered mathematics, algebra, algorithm, it came from there. When it comes to steel, iron, all of that came from the mines. That was the whole Babylon. As far dated way beyond the biblical days. People like that don't get to where they are by mere chance. This was like, they have structure. And wanting to make them cower to whatever your idea of a new world order is. If they're tolerating your ideas, it's okay, I think, in my opinion. But making them throw away the things that they've done, and they've done for centuries, all in the name of the ideas that you came up with. First is utter disrespect. It's not that their politics hasn't been influenced by the West. It has been. They have been overthrown and infiltrated, and the Shah was murdered, deposed. They have their own history of how the rest of the world has influenced them. So they're not inert. I think, they're kind of open, but they are struggling to keep what seem to remain of their identity. And that for them has been a struggle. I think you can also look at how China has evolved over the years and a couple of other Far Eastern countries. The force that is called the West is very powerful, but a few countries are saying we will chip away on the edges. because we need to modernize, we need to evolve, we need to change. But you see this core of us, this is our identity. We refuse to let it go. So in summary, that's what the Middle East is like. There is a semblance of what is happening in the rest of the world in the Middle East. But the core of it, when you get there, you still have to submit to the core of it, which is this is how we do things here. And with all due respect to you, you're welcome, but we are not about to change it for you.
Yeah, that's something very important to understand. And for the Africans who are invested in that conflict, people look at it. If you're Christian, they look at it like we're supporting Israel because Israel is our Jerusalem is in Israel. It's our people. These are our people. Then if you're Muslim, you're looking at it like Iran. They are our people. They are Muslims. What are we not getting? I'm still not worried about what we as Africans, who because of all these foreign religions that came to Africa, what we are not getting in our alliance with either side of this fight.
Okay, so here's how I'll break it down. I'll break it down in two ways. The first one is that as a journalist, when the lines are blurred like this, for me, I just dumb it down to the people. I let the people drive. When I say people, all people, regardless of color, I let it drive my thinking, I let it drive my questions, and I let it drive my what, where, and why, Because at the end of the day, the people, we the people. I'm in America now, so it's we the people. Because when everything gets confusing and people's politics, people's interest hitting in their politics, it confuses you. But the way to get out of that is to come back to the basic instinct of humanity. We started this show with a woman basically crying for her son. That should, I nearly, I just picked up the tissue and said, you can't do this. That will move you. And that should be the basics of how we decide on things. So, does anybody really deserve to die on the basis of what? If they've done something wrong, let politics handle it. But at the end of the day, some of these cultures are actually very, very linked in that Middle East, in that area. So at the end of the day, you ask why should my neighbor die? If you ask the people in the middle, they don't want this. So for me, from what's going on, I try to stay away from the headlines, the top line of two governments fighting, because from time immemorial, for some reason, people create contention that just sort of excites them on the political level. But as a person, I dumb it down. Why are we even doing this as a person? And I go into my humanity. The second thing is that religion, not faith. Religion has always been used to organize society. So I'm not really a fan of religious wars, because who's benefiting? You should ask yourself. And when I say who's benefiting, is the average Jewish person on the street benefiting? Is the average Iranian person benefiting? At the end of the day, they're like grass in between two elephants. My current project, the Grannies, sorry to jump in, I do with a Jewish woman. So when I'm speaking to Jewish people whose generation went through concentration camp and they look at what's going on, they're absolutely against it. Absolutely. So please, just know at the back of your mind, the religion is always, from time immemorial, used to organize society. There are people who use it as a tool of control. Okay? The other side, when I look at how should I participate in this, I'm looking at, was my neighbor hurt? And if my neighbor is brown and hijabi and all, and blood is flowing in their body, if I can help them, I go and help them. I don't care what the government is doing. That's my answer.
One last thing before we leave the topic. Today is Mother's Day in most parts of the world. And we showed that video of a woman crying over the son who is in the forest fighting for Nigeria. Women in Iran, they've been protesting, not just women, but most of the time you find women protesting about the life, the suffering, and the treatment. And sometimes it becomes a pretext for other powers to come into those societies and say, you have to change. We want you to change. You are not using your resources to help your people. And there was this protest that happened just a few weeks ago where thousands of people were killed. What is the state of, I don't know if you've traveled to Iran or Iraq or most parts of the Middle East, but the role of women, and are they happy the way, are we being sold a different story? Are they happy the way the structure is, like in Saudi Arabia or United Arab Emirates, the ones you've talked to, are they happy the way it is structured, or do they want something more Western?
There is no hard and fast answer to this. There's no one size fits all to this. Some of the projects, the reporting I reported on the war in Syria from the border. And there was a time that some of the women came into Turkey, and they were trying to rally for support because the war was disproportionately affecting them. When war in generally disproportionately affects women. The women in Iran are about like 60% of the population or more in Iran. And you get to find that you can fact check that for me. So the way that the structure of the world, from at least in the West, in most places in the West, kind of wasn't designed for the women. In parts of Africa, we know that the Agojis and a couple Queen Amina and a couple of other stories remind us of how our women didn't need, in certain places at least that I have read, didn't need permission to do whatever they needed to do. Women ran kingdoms. The idea of patriarchy in Africa is just something I had to compare post-colonial reality with when nobody disrupted the flow of society in Africa. So the idea that women were always suppressed before they came, if you please, you can correct me, you've lived much longer than me.
That doesn't count. That doesn't mean I know.
My brain. That
doesn't mean I know.
This whole freedom for women and things, that primary story wasn't for us. They brought it because, yes, kings, and if you have money, the thing was, if you had resources, you can marry as many wives, but it didn't mean that the women were second, whatever, to their husband. Not the books I've read that our people wrote. Do you understand? The whole trajectory kind of changed when, during colonialism, they needed men for war. They sent men to war, and then women needed to make more babies, especially men, so that they too can go to war. It was all an economic construct. Please, you can fact check me. Go and read it. And things that are changed. But back to your point in the Middle East and how things are structured, and if people want it out, I think we make a mistake that we remain the same throughout our lifespan. You can like A when you started out. As a human, you have every right to say, I have evolved, I want something else. Okay? And what democracy really is a game of numbers. If many of us want a certain thing, in the end, the force of many will overcome the minority. That's how typically it is supposed to work. So in Saudi, one time I was doing a project also in Istanbul, and I wanted to, it was about women and all of that. And I wanted to see, when the changes started on the new crown prince, I wanted to know what the women were thinking. And it was a matter of it used to be okay, but now we want things for ourselves. And the pressure became so much that the kingdom realized we need to start making concessions. Otherwise, we will need force to keep our subjects in place. And for how long? Every kingdom knows that we will not survive without the influence, without acquiescence to their own. But not like you're doing it every day, but like you be giving it small, small. At the end of the day, the power is is absolutely in the people relative to the number. So if the people who like to have the hijab and do there's still more than the people who like the freedom. Makachukunde, what are you going to do? With time, give it time. And the good thing is that it's a global world. You go to the place where you can enjoy it better, and then you come back till your place till there is more of you in there. That's the way I want to answer that question.
Okay. I just checked, and the population of women in Iran, they are about 49.
Okay, so the women are not as much. Okay,
yeah,
great.
Yeah. All right. So let's get down to Africa. I was just looking at the news, and I saw that Bobby Wine, the opposition leader in Uganda, has left the country after 2 months of living in hiding. He wasn't even allowed to vote for himself, I think, during the election. So he left the country. I know you interviewed Museveni. He's one of the long-lasting African leaders. He's been there since '86. When you look at Africa today, you can look at the guy in Cameroon. Everywhere, there are many dictators across Africa. When you look at them, and you look at what's happening in America with Donald Trump and the way the world has shifted back to strong men, powerful people running countries. What do you think? How do you think Africa is going to evolve, considering what is changing around the world?
Let's start with Museveni. Now I can see whatever I want. So, it's just that absolute power corrupts absolutely. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. The guy didn't start out like that, and I'm not trying to make a case for him. He didn't start out like that. People loved him. Idi Amin was a great man, but after a while too, absolute power was corrupting absolutely. So somebody needed to put him in his place, and then he got there too, and he's running and running. You should go and check out my interview. In fact, I did a quick recap during the election, and Oga, why are you running? He said to me, I'm running because I have unfinished business. When is he going to finish? In your grave? Like, Oga, shift. And that, if I'm being honest, I don't think Africa should have leaped on democracy as soon as we got
Independence.
We don't need it.
What would have worked?
Strongmen. One Awolowo. All those three brothers, let them do it for a while. You guys can come for me, and I will explain myself very well. Come for me. Because let me tell you, democracy, and I love the Obamas to bits. If they ever see this clip, they'll say, and I'll explain to them. Institutions make democracy strong. Colonialism destroyed anything that we had and put together strings of pseudo institutions that could not have sustained us unless we wanted to live under the terms that we were trying to get out from. So the first set of things was one person to help us rebuild, all of us. But the person was representative of all the interests. So in a way, it's democracy, but one person. Let them do 4 years is not enough to do anything.
So
wait,
4 years is not enough. Okay, go ahead.
At the beginning, I'm talking about from the beginning.
Okay.
So like the first couple of years, look at what happened in Singapore. We got democracy at the same time. Did Lee Kuan Yew leave? The difference was just that. Look and read that book from third world to first world. You may not like what Paul Kagame is doing now, but if the principle of I pull it forward, I pull it backward, because that's basically what democracy sometimes is. It does too much talking all the time. Before you know, time don't go. We don't know the front, we don't know the back, and one person with a clear head, let them lead us out of these build institutions, good schools. Let us be prosperous. Then open it up. Elections. But the confusion started as soon as the person who was taking our resources left, and everybody was already hungry. The moment they left, everybody jumped. It's my own. It's my own. It's my own. It's my own. We fought, and we are still fighting. And please don't tell me that we are multi-tribal. We're too much. We can't do it. Gosh, how many tribes are in Singapore? So I feel that the first decade, we should have steered clear it. It would have been hard though, because there was so much distrust. They had planted their own, what do you call them? People. So if you wanted to move forward, there were interests attached to the Brits. That once that anti-British thing you're trying to do happens, somebody will kill it. We could have seen that even if we closed our eyes, but for some reason we didn't. So anyway, back to it. Museveni said he was running and he had unfinished business. And I believed him.
After 40 years.
Yeah, I believed him. Unfortunately, why one strong man thing seemed to be very problematic is that when it gets to a time, you keep running. What you haven't done, you have not developed possible people who can take over from you. So the danger of strong men is that once they leave, it collapses. I don't know what's going to happen to Rwanda, because a similar thing is going on there now. While I like, because Rwanda should have been a failed state. Go and ask them in Bosnia. Okay? Go and ask them in Bosnia. But Rwanda is not a failed state. Rwanda is one of the most prospering economies in Africa. It takes visionary leadership and closing ears to dissent. And what I'm not supporting the other things that he's doing. I'm saying that there are trade-offs. However, I was there for their convention about 3-4 years ago, and I looked at it. It felt like a Chinese party, red party. I said, hey, who is going to take over? Nobody. They said they were choosing leaders. Nobody stood up to stand against. They born you where you go feed one. No, it was the sole candidate, and they put some cherries. So it'd be like mango and blueberry, 3 blueberries at the end of the day, the mango. And he came and said, thank you very much for voting. And then that's how he became the candidate again. You get the problem with that is it's going to get old. There will be need to raise other leaders. If you haven't given the people chance and the opportunity to build muscles, okay, or challenge you or learn from you, when you leave, you are most likely going to pass it on to your son. And that's when it becomes what? Hereditary. That is the danger of that. I think why I like what happened in Singapore was, of course, the West called Lee Kuan Yew a dictator. Don't forget. The only things that I like is sincerity and whatever. The things that Lee Kuan Yew did, honestly, were, looking back, you say they were evil, because he was engineering even how the IQ of his people. He was making people with very, very high IQ, Hey, my H syndrome is coming in. To marry each other so that it could produce a certain kind of people, and then send them abroad to go and learn and then bring them back. He engineered that society. And when it was time, before I quickly go off this track, so the tribal issues that we were having, they had it too. People were burning places down, they were doing all those rubbish. They were trying to figure out how to resolve it. You know what he did? Then he called the leaders of all the people who were protesting. They heard them, they heard that, they did all the surface democracy thing. Then he gave an incentive. All the places they were burning, he made them own pieces of those places. You won't go burn the place where you put small money. No, that was how the riot stopped. The people who were, it stopped. Because when you own a piece of your country, you are invested in it. I didn't dash them. They paid small money, but they owned a piece of the land.
So if Boko Haram should own parts of the north,
possibly stop. Yeah, you have to be invested. It is human nature. If you are invested, it's probably too late now, because I don't think the money Boko Haram is making from, hey, it's not my mouth that will say it, but you see what I mean. When you own a piece of something, you don't, the urge to want to destroy it, for some reason, it dulls down a little bit more. And this was in the 60s that he did that. If he encountered it now, I think he would have approached it differently, but the principle is the same. Okay, so just to let you know that I have differing ideas on how we could have grown, but I don't like to look behind. I like to look forward. There are ways to do it. Bobby Wine left. I think what Museveni told me about Bobby Wine was when they were fighting.
Where was it?
That when we were fighting the things that we disagreed with, we did not go abroad to complain, and we stayed here. We were in the bush. So if he thinks that what I'm doing is bad, let him. Why is he running? That man, you can imagine how hard I didn't laugh.
Were you controlled when you went to interview him? Were there restrictions?
Oh yeah, his boys tried to shop. In fact, I think it was a miracle that they didn't throw me out, because obviously they tried to tell you to submit your questions. You better, otherwise you're not coming to State House. So I don't know if I talk about my trick here. But of course, naturally, you give them the idea of what you are. They do too here in America. All those questions you want to ask the president, you will submit your question, but the trick is always in the follow-up. Okay, and then you veer off or somewhere. You find a way to redirect them to the things that they will be uncomfortable with. And there were many questions that, funny enough, he himself was not uncomfortable with. It was more of his aides, like, this was not what we agreed to. And then he would tell them, don't worry, I'll answer her. More like, I've talked to worse people. Hey, madam, ask your question. So I find all the presidents that I have interviewed, I find that they themselves are chill, but the institutions that protect them, they have to do their job, which is they have to keep you checked. Don't ask all those questions and things like that. So and then the thing you said about Bobby, I kind of see the sense in it, because right now there's nowhere to run. Everybody is now facing their issues. Europe is trying to figure out the US is trying to figure out the Middle East. Everyone's got their problems now. So whatever politician has a problem now, you can't not look to the US as a standard of democracy. Unfortunately, not at this time.
Okay, so I know that Museveni's son is being prepared to take over from him.
Make me do this.
In Nigeria, we're going back to Nigeria now. People are proposing that Tinubu needs more than 4 years. In fact, somebody said he should have 16 years. That it would take about 16 years for him to fix Nigeria. That if he should leave after 8 years, he's yet to get the second term. But people are already proposing that if he should leave after 8 years, everything will go back to where it was. So that he needed more time to fix that. And then, of course, his son, Shay, people are saying that he's been groomed.
His son?
Yeah, he's been prepared to be.
His son?
Yeah.
His son? Shay, his son?
Oh, don't.
Yeah, nothing.
I didn't hear that.
I didn't say it.
He's preparing.
It was AI
to be the governor of Lagos State, and then from there to take over, run the country. So when you hear stuff like that in a country, multicultural, multi-ethnic country like Nigeria, where people have not even accepted the nationhood, people are still questioning the nationhood.
Because they can't trust the contract, the social contract between leadership and people is broken. And a good example is the mother we saw crying, where when you pay taxes, you don't trust whoever is taking the tax on the other end to do what they're meant to do with the money. So instead of paying for your NEPA bill, you'd rather buy petrol to power your generator, because at the very least, you know where that money is going to, even if it meant you do it 10 times. What we're battling is trust. And over again, the average Nigerian has tried to trust the government. It hasn't worked. So they take matters in their own hands. So what we have is OYO, on your own, everyone trying to figure it out. Have that at the back of your mind. And it's hard. It is more expensive, actually. But at the very least, you know you have control over your outcomes. In Nigeria, you don't have control over your outcomes. And that's where it's scary.
That brings me to journalism. You've been there for 15 years, at least. You've covered Nigeria, covered Africa. And I want to know, do you think that journalists, and because people blame journalists for most of the things that are wrong in the country, people
I don't think it's fair, but I hear them.
People like you don't do your job very well. That's what I hear. They don't mention your name, but
you are a journalist too. You are still a journalist. So
people like you don't do your job. That's why things are messed up. So, how do you assess the media in Africa?
That's a huge subject for me. Listen, there are people who are still doing it regardless. There are people who are doing their job, who are doing their job. It's difficult because, and I tell you something, when I started my career as a broadcaster, as a TV journalist, and this is a very personal story. As you know, if it is not you, Oga, I'm not the type, you will never find anything seriously personal about me anywhere, because I don't have time. I'll speak to my mirror, but I'll tell you what, when I was very sincere about my why, two things were important to me. If I work, I better have money, because I cannot be working like an elephant and be eating like an ant. It has to be worth my time. And I said that to myself almost 20 years ago. So you will never find me where I'm working and I can't pay my bills. There have been, it's different from when you're transitioning and, so I always kept that in front of, as part of the things I prayed about. Like, God, speaking to Yoruba, Jeki Showo mi koto mije. Let whatever I do be able to, sustain me. Bless it, so that I'm not lured by other stuff. This is why it's hard for me to make a very straitjacketed judgment about what's going on. Journalism, as you know, is not especially when you start off, is not something you do and be wealthy. It's almost like a calling, because I could have been anything I want to be. A pilot, I could have been, because I have the brains for it. I started as in the sciences, chemistry, biochemistry, but then I did television when I was young, and television came more naturally to me and made me happy. I felt more fulfilled. So my point is, it's tough to be a journalist and be able to sustain yourself in Africa, and more so now in the West too, because you see all the layoffs. That said, it shouldn't affect the core of what we do. It's like saying that you're a doctor, but because you don't make money, you go and become quack and kill people. It's not an excuse. So you still have to do your job. When I'm so lucky that I cut my throat, is it my teeth or my throat? Is that the English?
No, teeth, I think.
Okay, because cut your throat, you die.
You're gone. After that, you're gone.
So, I did that at Channels Television, and I'm forever grateful. By the way, I spent, it was 5 years I spent there, because I was there till 2016, late 2016. Okay, so about 4 years, not up to 5, that I spent there, and I learned from the best. Jomomo would teach you the best, and you put it in your hands. It gave me his platform. I had something, but something wasn't enough. And as I grew older in the business, I knew that talent wasn't enough. You needed sponsors. You needed people who would believe in you and take a chance. Sometimes you need to do it over and over again to find your feet. And that's what I had. And I had it with the best station in the country. So I learned all those things. I trained with the old guard, where you are invisible, you're not the story. The story is the people. It took me coming to America to know how to put my opinion in anything. And I'm grateful for the two extremes, because now I can base my opinion on facts that are irrefutable. You will go and check it, and when I'm second guessing myself, I'll say things like, fact check me. Do you say? Because I am unashamed. I mean, even AI makes mistakes, but I will be able to say, I think it is this, but please have a look. But that tells you I've read it, but maybe I haven't compared the numbers with other people. This is what the fundamentals of good journalism, being fearless to ask the right questions. I was privileged to go back home and spend about a year after about 10 years of not being there, of practicing there. And I was discombobulated by come for me. At this stage, I don't, I have nothing to lose. It's the truth. At the shallowness,
Nobody's watching, don't worry.
you think? It was unbelievable. I did an interview that went viral, not because it was the best interview I've ever done in my life, but people received it well. It went viral, not just here. I mean, the UK, it was an interview with a former first lady. And I think what people resonated with was the questions they would love to ask, the way they would love to ask it was what I was asking, which is basic.
Which of the first ladies? Which one?
It was the former first lady of Lagos, Fashola.
Okay.
Mrs. Fashola. And for me, I wasn't doing anything out of space. It was just what I was supposed to be asking. Direct. And let's barring all the other, presidents that I've interviewed, and I've had to ask straight questions. And you could see when I interviewed the president of the Gambia, it was his first term in office, and then he had insinuated that he was going to spend two what's it called now, terms. He had campaigned on one term because they wanted Yahya Jammeh gone after years. People were traumatized from that experience, so they didn't want anybody who would then spend forever. So he campaigned based on that. Like, I'm an outsider, I just want to do it. Then he realized that 4 years wasn't enough. Then so when I saw where the conversation was going, I said, but sir, you campaign. The reason why people chose you is not because you were a politician, because you are a businessman. Are you not going to? He said, when you get in, you realize that it's not as easy as I said, so you will run again. Then he kept quiet. When we finished, he told me, I think my lawyers are going to be contacted. I said, for what? I did not put spoon in your mouth to say anything. You said it. More or less like, nigga, you're going to cut that part out. I'm like, nigga, I ain't going to do that shit. No such thing. So, and a couple of years after, that particular part of the conversation was cut by the opposition to run against him. Sometimes this is how effective when we do our jobs well. When I was doing it then, I didn't have anything in mind that, it's going to go viral. Sometimes you do it, nobody sees it. Sometimes you do it, people see it. But you see, it doesn't change that you keep on doing your job. Now, what I noticed on the other side is that there is this new economy. There's this new sort of journalism that is coming up, which is the creator journalism. I would not lie about how unsettling it was for me, because I saw the trend 10 years ago, and I said, never me. Uncle Rudolph, they do them too, because that's where the market is now. I'm sorry. But the difference is I still have depth. Unfortunately, when you turn on now, what you see on TV are talking heads with no depth. is hard. And invariably, what that means is you are letting people go. You're letting them off the hook. You're the fourth estate. You're supposed to be holding them responsible. But how do you hold your provider responsible? That's what I'm gonna say. So it is a place between something and a hard rock. I'm forgetting all these metaphors. You're between something and a hard rock. I can't remember, but not hard rock in Manhattan, but hard rock.
As we were talking about this, I was thinking about this interview with Daniel Buala. I don't know if you saw that with Hassan. What do you make of that? Because people use that to now judge journalists in Nigeria, in Africa, that they are not doing that kind of journalism. What is wrong with that? What is right with that? And when you look at the Nigerian space, who is doing what you think is the
Sorry,
right?
I'm distracting myself because Mother Oga.
I could show you pictures where people will now put someone like what's the guy in a channel, Shegun and Rufai, Shegun and Rufai, and say who is doing it right. In your own assessment, what is the right way?
I mean, I met Rufai a long time ago. I have a lot of respect for him. Shegun and I work together. I know he's doing his best. Bros, why are you trying to make me unfriend my friends?
No, you don't have to. No, you don't have to. But this is the question they ask everybody. Yeah, I mean,
I will put it in a context for you because context helps us understand this.
Mm-hmm.
You know that Mehdi Hassan used to work, is it at Al Jazeera or NBC?
Al Jazeera and MS.
Which one did they fire him from?
I think all of them. I don't know. I don't know. The reason why Al Jazeera, yeah.
And I know that the conversation with that they had was the platform where they had the conversation was there's this series that Al Jazeera has. It's called AJ something. AJ is a conversation, so it's kind of like outside of the editorial control. He has a show. He has his own company called Zeteo. When they fired him, what am I trying to say? There are principalities and powers called bosses, boards of directors. And it's very real. He is able to ask pointed questions like this. Mehdi is able to be completely Mehdi because he's no longer being meddled with. Let me tell you something. Journalism is the only profession I know that is at the mercy of the platforms that it works with. If you're a doctor, you're a doctor. If you're a lawyer, I say that one to get. If you are a plumber, you're a plumber. But if you're a journalist, you're looking at the medium. Yeah, what would the people like? If I go and say this now, they can yank me out. So what you see, new journalists who have made and built a concrete brand for themselves, they're taking the chance on themselves and building platforms where they have absolute control and can say anything. He that plays the piper
dictates the tune.
I got that one right. So yeah, I think that answers my question. Your question, right? I think so.
So also the other thing you didn't mention is that everybody can be a journalist. That's the perception out there. People tell. Yeah. That's the perception out there. People tell. I hear people tell journalists that you don't know what you're doing, and I wonder, do they tell doctors you don't know what you're doing?
It's not their fault. They have seen us finish. They've seen our yansh. It's their camera now. Everybody in front. I said, I'm telling you, when
do you see this thing I see every time? Or there will be an accident or an event going on. Somebody will come on with a camera and say,
I'm reporting
live. I'm reporting live from and
please don't call me a journalist.
And that's what they're a reporter, yeah.
It's what? But let me tell you, I think this is what is still keeping me going. And at the same time helping me to evolve. I know that the basics of the prompt of what we do, the what, where, why, how, when, all the WH, technology has taken it away from us. It used to be exclusive to television or radio, and the people who work in there to go. Having a camera has disrupted the what happened. You can know what happened in a second from Twitter. At least you get an idea. You won't have to wait for news at 6 or news at 10. Okay? The when, now. You know, international media used to, they would, once the story breaks, they'll send someone to fly 5 hours, 10 hours to get there. See, as you're entering the plane like this, all the WH questions have been solved. No need. So they don't say, you see that they are now hiring locals to tell stories. I think it's from benevolence. It's because the business model has shifted. If we send someone, it's more expensive. 2, the whole story has gone viral before our reporter gets there. Let's find someone, as soon as it breaks, let's find someone there who can quickly. So we're seeing more diverse faces on TV. Not because they like you. And they tell you now. I talk I'm down for broken so that person will come find me tomorrow. Not because they like you or they tell you now. Business model. You guys to get with the program. No, that's number one. And then I realized that what now sets me apart is the why. Not everybody can explain the why. Also, it's annoying because that's why everybody is doing explainer on this thing, because they figured out the only thing that is left for us is contextualizing the story, the historical. But ChatGPT now is spoiling it all. They're giving everybody. But at least, as a human, then you put a face on it to try to help people understand. The why is still what I'm holding on to. Because as you can tell, I'm a great storyteller. And I can contextualize things for you based on experience, based on research. And that's what I'm holding on to. Whether that will exist in the next 10 years, I don't know.
We will talk about your projects in a moment, but before then, let me show you something that happened in Owerri yesterday during an event organized by the City Boy movement. City Boys movement is something that was set up by people supporting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for re-election. All right. So there is this movement behind the party in power. We called it City Boys. They are trying to get people, lobby people, give them palliatives so that they will support the government in power. And part of what's going on is that a lot of people are concerned about the kind of democracy we have in Nigeria today. Because if you look at what is going on, let me show you this. It appears as if opposition parties are no longer, there's an effort to wipe them out. Look at this.
What is going on in our Bakassi? Scatter everywhere. Huh? We don't need any party here apart from APC in Bakassi. We don't want anybody. Come on, scatter everywhere. Scatter everywhere. Go punish you now there. Now the grace for this local government. For our Bakassi here. We don't want that. Scatter everywhere. Come on there. Come on. Everywhere must shut down. We don't want any party here. That APC. This party. Go and call now Chapter Chairman to call our this thing. We don't want APC anywhere. Shut down. Call them and tell them. Scatter everywhere. Come on, scatter everywhere. This Bakassi, when we did shot, you see you. Come on, lie down. Come on. The crate, stop. The crate is there in that place. The crate. You know, fire on it. Oh, see, Baba. We'll scatter all of it. That's the crate.
That I signed the Electoral Act.
We don't want
I have no choice. I don't want to throw the country into turmoil of argument of nothing. There is an overwhelming majority by the National Assembly that passed the law. If I have serious question or reservation about it, I will have raised it, but I have not. I have submitted myself to the principle of rule of law, democracy. I signed. The rest is history. We meet at the polls. The game is sweet. Only when you are winning. Oh, it's all right. We must accommodate one another. We must help one another. We must strengthen the platform. But democracy, is it? Yes. There must be peace, stability, and commitment to rule of law.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back. We are having a conversation with Adesewa Josh. So, democracy in Nigeria, how is it working? What's your assessment?
I'm not understanding. Somebody said,
I don't understand it. Democracy.
Somebody said, you should consider stand-up comedy. I think I should, because I'm not understanding. I think the more you look, the less you see.
How do you assess Tinubu, how he's been running the country?
You know what, make go out. I cannot hear you. Okay. Look, listen. I will say a few things. I think he demonstrated fearlessness. Whether that, and I'll explain, whether that was a political card move, it was a fierce one, it was a very dangerous one, but he did it anyway. And people can say, oh no, he wasn't the one who removed fuel subsidy. The reforms that he initiated in his first term, politicians everywhere do that in their second term when there is nothing else to lose. Unless there is something he knows that we don't know, those moves are always kept for second term. It's sure for this guy, so he go start them first term. Look at the precedents. No, there's no precedent. Nobody thought Obasanjo, no triumph. This that he's doing now, we were supposed to have done it since. Who didn't know we're supposed to remove subsidy? Look at that was what Jonathan sacrificed his political career, and even I think his entire career over subsidy removal. There are people. Remember, I carried placard though.
Oh, you were? With Adeboye? I
carried placard to Ojota. I pasted one on my forehead, one on my ass. I'm not joking. I was a notorious human being. Because I didn't know any better. Like, they should not remove it. They should not remove it. I was there.
So the question is this, the people who protested that it should not be removed mentioned what will happen that time. Yes. That economy will be, the people will fall into poverty, there will be hardship. They mentioned that. They entered now and removed the subsidy. They haven't done anything to deal with the consequences, which they were aware of.
Because in Nigeria, we're not great planners. I mean, when you look at what's happening in the West too, it's hard because of the greed and all of that. The people who are supposed to remove their hands from a few resources that is supposed to just, okay, for a few years, you people will not be earning the billions that used to earn from backdoor. We'll just give it to nobody wants to hear that. So it's a case of who will make the sacrifice. Then they will come back to the people. In New York City, what Mamdani is trying to do is possible because he knows the money exists. But who will make the sacrifice? It's always who is going to pay. Then they come back to the people who have already paid and bled to death. because they have the numbers, but they will suffer more. It's usually because they have the numbers. They have the money, we have the numbers. So by the time they do it over a certain period of time, that money that we need, they will get it from us. But at what cost? So it is possible. It is always who is going to what you have been enjoying. All of a sudden, if you have been driving a Range Rover before, you might have to drive Keke Marwa for so that other people. Who wants to do that? I wouldn't mind. Because I find winning alone very lonely. But that's a story for another day. These people win, but the only way they try to not stay lonely is with their side chicks and girlfriends. Hey, you have to cut this part out.
Yeah, we will.
You have to cut this part.
Don't worry.
But my point is, he took, I think, his first pledge of sincerity towards wanting real reforms is that he started from the get-go. For me, and you ask any economist, please don't ask the economists, the ones that ask. I ran into an economist when I was flying from, can't remember where I was flying from, in Lagos, and then I was at the Lagos airport. It was still like a couple months into it, and then into Tinubu's term, and then we started seeing changes of sort at the airport. The airport was cleaner, it was working, it wasn't perfect, but it was working. And so we got into this conversation, and he said he's an economist, a political economist. I think he teaches abroad, and he said, listen, he's an Igbo. The man was Igbo, and he said to me, it's not like I like the guy personally, but what he's doing now is what was meant to have been done since. And the fact that he's doing it in his first term, he knows that this is suicide. That so to any elite that don't read books or be waiting support, book must balance. Our Nigeria's book is not balanced. You can't do business with an unbalanced book. This Igbo man was telling me. He said, and I said, so do you speak to each other? He said, no, that's my business. But I just know he's doing the right thing if they stay the course. Now let's talk about all the other things he's done. So you're telling people to take the risk, adjust, drink Gary for some time, but we have people in the cabinet splashing money around and rubbing it on our face. Even if it's money they've saved over time. Are you people okay?
No, I thought the sacrifice would start from the presidency itself before other people. Because if the president is buying new jets, buying new
fixing the jets and all, yeah.
It doesn't.
So the optics is bad. This is why they need strategic communicators like us to help them. Because I would understand that this guy was a businessman. Because look, I'm not comparing these two, but look at Donald. I'm not saying last name. Look at Donald. Okay, Donald has money. Well, can get money. He's a businessman. He can get money. Whether he has the money sitting in his bank is another. But a businessman become president. He has access to money. He does not need his salary to do anything. But and look at how they manage that part. He said that he's not collecting salary. So money from Alago and all the other this thing will pay. If you see him wearing any shoes, it's not his salary. Look at how they played. Look at that. It was strategic from the get-go. And they love him for it, his base. These things, everything in politics is optics. If you go out and scratch your nose like this, it means something. But that story, you can call me for consultancy another day. We're talking about it.
All right. So let's take a break. When we come back, we talk about the Grannies, your podcast that has just been picked up.
It's beyond the podcast. It's a platform. But
you can expand on that. But that podcast is the anchor of your new company, which is a studio that you set up. So we'll take a break. When we come back, we will talk about that. Thank you.
Awesome.
Alowerele efuemo. Alowere efuemo. I am adurelele. Adurelele. Idu kwa samaka onyoma odika powder. Idu kwa samupu onyoma odika fomu. Idu kwa samishi onyoma odika pilo. Ololololo aturubu ebule wakamwa iwariwo. Ice Rosa Olerio, Rosanna Olerio, Adikadimba. Adure Olerio, Aturubu ebule wakawa iwariwo. Adure lele. Idu kwa samaka onyoma odika powder. Idu kwa samupu onyoma odika fomu. Idu kwa samishi onyoma odika pilo. Ololololo aturubu ebule wakawa iwariwo.
In your life when you don't have time to be lonely. This is important. You're so busy. I was so busy. I had 2 growing children. I had a major full-time job that I worked twice as hard as everybody else because being a woman in the 60s and 70s at Yale University, you couldn't just be good, you had to be great. And I worked every minute. And I thought of myself as having wall-to-wall obligations. It was a rug, wall-to-wall rug. There was not a minute where I wasn't needed for something. I rushed home to make dinner. My first husband wanted his dinner at 6 o'clock. I had 15 minutes between getting home from work. I cooked Chinese food, stir fry. And on and on and on. And so the question of having some time on your own just to reflect, walking to work was my time. So there's a balance between having time to be with yourself and to think and being lonely. And for me, being busy all the time was also a burden.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are having an interesting conversation with Adesewa Josh, who has been back in New York, where she did her master's at Columbia, and she started a new venture. She's the founder of SSM Studios, where they've created a program called the Grannies, a podcast. This is the introduction to the Grannies. All right, Josh Adesewa, welcome back. And
thank you,
everybody
thank you very much.
Who is watching us. At this point, you can like the broadcast, you can share, and we will give you the chance to come in and ask questions as we go along. But let me start with this new project. How did you come about this? And
Okay, good question, and I'm going to try and make it short. This is a very personal one to me. So first, my company name is called Small Screen Multimedia. It explains itself because the world is moving away from the big screen to the small screen. So we want to be able to create viral-worthy content that is, when you say, oh, this thing went viral, it's usually bad things that go viral. So it's to create content that are meaningful, engaging, and in bite sizes. And of course, all of that is created from our studio. So the First Ladies series is one of the studio's projects, and now the Grannies, which is more suited to the Western market. I mean, the First Ladies is a global concept. The Grannies is also a very global concept because things are shifting across cultures around the world. And the basics for why we created the Grannies is because we saw a gap in the not just the market, but the content market in the West. When I say the West, we're using the American media content space as the prototype, sort of, to guide us. And we saw that this country, the media, is very obsessed with youth. There is hardly representative voice for people who are 65 and above. And it's sad because even the UN, there was a UN report that alluded to that by 2050, around the world, not just in the United States, there will be the people above 65 will be more than any other person. So in America, you can fact check that for me, but I know for sure in America by 2030, there will be the people above the age of 65 will be more than the people below the age of 18, which means the baby boomers are getting older, and they're the ones with the market forces, aka the money. But having said that, when you look at TV, what TV reflects back to you about old people is that they're dying, they need Viagra, or they need, yes. How many Viagra ads have you seen every time you turn your TV? Because they want to continue living. It's at the end of their life. You're living, okay? This generation is living longer. 90s, 96-year-olds you see them at the center park working out. So, but the market isn't ready to make that shift yet.
But I've started seeing signs, and one of the things that the studio is doing is to get ahead of it and create m- content that will mainstream, that mirrors the aspirations, the lives of these people. And don't forget, we're also going into the robotics age where human connection will be even much more pricey now. Because everything we're doing now, we're interfacing with technology. Real connections are now going to be scarce. So imagine a platform that aggregates a community that is still very connected through stories of what has happened before. So these people are like walking AI, walking chat GPT, except nobody's tapping their brain. And when we were doing our research, we found out that younger people, aka the grandchildren, even the adults, said that they would love to see a show that has older people. I'm sure you've seen The Talk. So they sit around the table and talk about their lives. They would want to watch it because they want to learn what it is like in their life, the things that they've been through, how they can apply that wisdom to themselves. I was actually quite shocked that a lot of young people want to hear that because most people are feeling lost right now. So just to have a very light-hearted 30 to 45 minutes show talking about a woman from their first date, their first cry, to what they think about the war that is going on, but that is relevant to people, that helps people see the perspective of things, was what we wanted. We wanted to chalk that gap, and that's what we're doing with the Grannies.
Mm. I know that starting today, I think it's going to
Yes,
be
in a couple of hours, we're
then
debuting.
at 5 p.m. It's
Yeah,
going to be shown on Manhattan Neighborhood Network.
yes. You know, I used to think it's just for people in New York. Nationally, if you have Spectrum, if you have cable, so it's cable. It's like having DSTV and not having DSTV. Nigerians, you will understand that one. So if you don't have DSTV, you cannot see certain shows. That's the way it is. But which means, wherever you are in the country, I think, if you Spectrum, if you're using Spectrum, say Spectrum 34, you find the Grannies there. This is actually very exciting for me because we debuted on Spotify, and Spotify is telling us that this we are niche and it looks like we're doing okay. Apple Podcast sent us a review of the show, and now we have entered ranking. For me, that we're ranked at all is I'm like, so it shows that there is the content itself is unique and there is a need for it. It's just a matter of we got to keep going. Yeah.
Mm. So, what kind of stories have you? How many episodes do you have, and what kind
We
of
shot
stories?
our 5th episode on Saturday, and also one of the things that we know as a producer, I understand as the executive producer, I understand that being able to piggyback on some of the things that are happening in society can also help drive conversation. Um, our last episode was more about grannies in times of war. Most of these grandparents have seen at least one world war. So, what was it like then? And almost 100 years apart. Is it about 100 years? 80 plus?
80. Mm.
Yeah, another one is brewing. What are their fears? What was it like? How they went through it? Most of them were young. The people who really saw World War II and fought in it, they're probably all dead. Maybe a few, because I think
Yes.
a few of them got medals.
Mm-hmm.
So some of them might be alive, but they would be like 100 plus or so. Um, those who were adults back then. So it was like we went back through it, and in that conversation, I thought that grannies would be scared and at least for their grandchildren to be drafted. After all, we've started putting boots. I called it, we've started putting fins in the sea because they sent to 2,500 Marines, right? So we haven't put boot on the ground, but we've put fins in the sea. So people are swimming down the river in Iran now. So it's looking real-ish. What are they thinking? And you can see that a few people are scared that their grandkids are going to be drafted because some of them already have grown kids that could be drafted. But then Granny Jane, who is my co-anchor, was optimistic. She said she's scared, but the difference between now and then is that they didn't have television. We didn't have to consume the images the way it was. They waited till 6 p.m. and you have to go to the cinema to see a movie reel. I think in my head, I was thinking maybe she's making a case for all the governments who are blocking our feed from seeing the videos. But she said it reduced their anxiety. However, everybody sat around a radio and listened, and you can imagine what was going on. She said the few that she saw till tomorrow, she cannot enter into a very crowded place. She said she watched the Nazis stomping through a neighborhood, and that was it for her. She could never go into it. So I now said, so you see what we are feeling. She said, just stop watching the news. I said, but it doesn't help anything, you know. So it was that kind of conversation back and forth, the little things she did. She also, in a way, she worked for the war. I said, how did you work for the war? She said, you know, the tobacco, they were rationing things at the time. And remember, America was not this, I think it was after World War II that the Industrial Revolution happened and everything got very successful. So they weren't really, the people who were rich were just a few of them. So they had all these, you know, things that they had to do even as kids, as she was 4 or 6 at the time. And it was an interesting conversation to just peep back into what life was like when a major war was happening. Now we're shifting into another one. And so things like that. We're talking about love, their first keys. It's a relaxed thing, but it helps us, it gives us an insight back into what life was like for our mothers. In that clip that you've been playing, she was talking about what it means to be a mother and to be lonely. We talked about loneliness, which is a pandemic in America. Around the world. So pandemic is a global thing, right? Okay. So anyway, so these are some of the topics we discuss, and it helps us to explore the themes of aging, themes of healthcare, health givers. These are some of the sponsorship and partnerships that we're positioning for. And yeah.
How are the grannies responding to the show?
Oh, it's been great. Imagine seeing yourself on television at your age, and you're telling your friends, a few ones that are alive and well, usually in front of the TV, and they're talking to each other. Whoa, she's on TV. But our primary audience is people like me, and that's one thing that people miss with this whole concept, because adult relationships with parents get very difficult when we get older, especially when you start having kids too. So it's navigating, in-laws, navigating like real conversations that people really never have. You know, one granny keeps telling me, I don't see my grandchildren because the person that my son married will not let me see. You think it happens only in African households? It happens here too. And then so they're talking about why that happens. When you go to their house, you criticize the person's cooking all the time. You know, you will never, and you know, Americans, they just never invite you again. It's not like in Africa, by force you still come back. You're not coming to the house again. So like really interesting conversations like that make them look back into some of the things they've done well, some of the things they could have done better, etc., etc. And the feedback has been
in most societies, like in Africa, you know, wisdom is also transmitted that way by grandparents telling stories So is that one of the things you are aiming for with this?
Oh, absolutely. But doing it a way that it's yes. Because once it's too serious like that, we're like, I beg, Mogo. That's why the concept of podcast makes sense, because we're not too rigid or polished. You have to understand that the content era that we're in now is people want to see the real you. TV is over polished. That's why people is overproduced and over polished. That's why people are, I beg, these people are too fake for us. Podcast, you are just doing your thing. So I'm so happy we started with a podcast and we're taking whatever we've shot there without over polishing it, over producing it, or dumping it on television. So when we laugh, my mouth is all okay. That's not how a lady laughs, but sorry. You know, so we are, and then sometimes, you know, she says things from the heart. She criticizes and she goes like, should we put that on TV? I said, just leave it. You know, so as the executive producer, I'm looking at the trends of how and why people are shifting away from television into, you know, digital space, you know, and with that, you know, and part of it is because people want to connect with the real you, and we're using that to mirror how we stream the content to the rest of the world. So yeah.
So you are currently shooting in New York City. Are you going
Yeah.
to go beyond New York City? Are you
Oh
going?
yes, it's going to be, it is a global concept, because again, I was talking to one of my team members, and we're looking at how this is also happening in Europe, you know, and people are getting older, and I think it was you I was talking to about how, hey, the when we come to your house, when you visit back in Africa, you visit someone when we were much younger. My parents will give you water, whatever, but they will also give you one more thing.
Your Facebook page.
Yeah.
Album.
Give you an album.
It's
Nobody.
always under the
Yes, under the center table.
center table. Yeah.
Those were the things that helped us preserve memory. Now it's all in the cloud. Facebook. One day Facebook will crash. Now we're not go find on a memory again.
It will be on Twitter or on Instagram.
Or they would have sold it to a third party. You'll be buying it from them for $5. We are Things are changing, and they're changing very fast, and we have to see that. And how we preserve memory and what's it called? How we preserve memory and how we preserve experiences is changing, and much more so now. It is getting done through storytelling, and there are custodians of those places, because they're forcing us to put everything online, and somebody is going to use this was what happened. First, they made the internet, everybody goes there, you put all your life there. Now they curled it up and turned it into AI and ChatGPT. Now you're asking those things to reproduce it, and now we're paying for it. People are becoming gatekeepers. Wouldn't you rather trust somebody like me to become the gatekeeper of a very treasured memory like that of your parents? Do you see what I mean? So it's going to change, and we've introduced diaspora grannies, and very soon we're going to be announcing something called Film Your Granny, and there will be money to be won and all of that. But just go and just film them, have memories of them. One thing I've heard from adult kids say about their regrets when they are sitting by their granny's bed or their mother's or their father's is that no matter how hard the relationship was when the woman was alive and well, they always regret something, that they never talked enough, they didn't have their pictures enough, all of them always do. You know what I mean? And so let's preserve this memory so that the generations that are coming, that the story will not be wiped out forever. We have one assignment, is to preserve at least 3 generations: grandmother, us, and then the grandparents. You don't know anything about 4 people who came before you. You are like 1,000 years old. Like, there are many, 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 many people. We don't know anything anymore about any of those people. That has got to change, especially in a world that is becoming increasingly automated. We need to create an oasis of human interaction and preserve the memories of our loved ones. And I believe so much in that. There's money to be made in it, but also there is meaning to be made in it. And I believe that so much.
So people who do not have Spectrum, where can they watch it? Or people
Oh
who
yeah,
are
so it's a
States?
global. You can watch it. There's a live stream. I wish I give that to you.
Oh, you can send it to me. We can put
We
it
can
up.
stream them. Okay, we can just put them now. I think it's in the.
You can go to the comment section and write it, or a private chat and send it to me.
Okay, let me go.
Yeah, I will share it.
Yes, so it's very easy to find.
And I think it starts at, it said 5 p.m. today Eastern.
5:30.
New York time. Okay.
Yes, it's a bi-weekly show, and we're going to be doing a lot of partnerships with communities that are anyone who has anything to do with the longevity economy. Can you still see me on the screen, or am I gone?
No, you can see you.
Fabulous. The one thing also is, a few people have figured it out so soon. There are people who are giving support to they're giving support to ideas around supporting people who are getting older. Because ideally by 70, everybody just expects that you are of no use. But these people are living longer. That's the thing. And the same shift is happening across cultures.
Yeah, even in Nigeria. Yeah.
Yes, you're starting to see people who are going beyond the 85 and still very active, and you're like, So
And
the
also,
question,
the children are now busy. It's not like before where the parents will go to their kids' house and stay.
exactly. So
So
they're being outsourced. Can you imagine? It used
yeah,
to
because
be,
I'm hearing that people are setting up old people's home now, where old people go in
yes.
Nigeria.
I was
So
talking
what
about this.
these things that we are talking about when we are in the West and complain about the life there is coming, is
It's
going,
coming. It's
coming
going
to
round.
Nigeria in Africa.
Yes, because
Yeah.
people are living longer and
Mm.
healthier. You know, when you see how people are doing the exercises and avoiding diabetes and avoiding extra weight, those are things that naturally helps you get older. Live a longer, more healthy life in general, and you just find out that you can live longer. So when you live longer, what are you going to do?
So does it all mean that you and hard news those days are gone of you?
No, no. See, the
Okay.
thing is, what is hard news anymore anyway? I thought we talked about how things have really, really, really changed, and the what, where, why, sorry, how, blah, 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 blah. They've solved that one with digital this thingy. What is left of hard news is why, and you being able to explain and bring people to the understanding of what's happening, and that can be done. The medium of how we do it is now what's more important than and I've heard this so much. There's actually a book about the news and the medium is the message. It's always been, but I don't think we realized it, but now the medium has become even more so the message, the kind of place where you get your news, and things like that. So it's not over for me. No, never. I mean, if anything, I'm evolving. And I'm embracing the journey.
All right. We have some of our people here already, and we want to begin the conversation. I will
Oh,
call.
wow, Dr. D, I thought you said we are the only ones here. Now I'm making you shy.
No. They were hidden. They were
Oh
backstage.
my
They couldn't
God.
see or hear you. They just we
Yeah,
just
just to add quickly. So basically what I'm doing at the forefront of it is that I'm building a storytelling platform that creates media projects and documentary series that elevate underrepresented voices, which is what I've always done, even with Africa Matters. That's what we did. I went into that company and like we have to platform because you guys are not telling the stories the way we know it should be told. So I go into spaces and I create platforms for underreported voices and capture the lived experiences that shape culture and leadership. That's sort of what I'm doing, and I still do it in different forms. You will see it come out. Everything I do, just know I'm platforming underrepresented voices. Period.
so like 10 years from now, how do you see your company? How
If I know how I see it now, I will become billionaire. No, 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 no. I think it's going to grow towards that arc. The studio is going to get bigger. We're going to leverage the bigger giants and stream. Ultimately, we want to. Our first streaming partnership is MNN. The other ones are going to be things like HBO, Netflix, Prime Video, because projects like the first ladies are going to need bigger audiences, and I believe that the grannies will also need bigger audiences. We'll create more projects too, that we can the platforms like that can pick up, and who knows, we might become an HBO ourselves and not need their infrastructure. But I think it's a very global community, and we can collaboration is actually the currency of the moment. So that's important. We don't have to reinvent anything.
All right, thank you so much. Let's get our people involved in the conversation. Mr. James, thank you for joining us. Say hi to Shewa.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you very much. I'm sure you can hear me.
Yes, loud and
Yes,
clear.
yes, you addressed a lot of issues, and I really don't know where to take from. But however, judging by your educational background, you were a science student, I believe. That's what you said.
Yes.
Then
Oh,
you
you caught that
graduated.
part. That was like I thought nobody heard that part, but you caught it like ah.
Okay, yeah, I find it very interesting because I'm of the belief that knowledge has no boundary.
Yes.
You can be a mathematician and you veer into any area, any occupation or vocation of your choice. Anyway, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for thanking me. Now, your opinion of what's it called, Mr. Bola Tinubu, I could not really get what you were driving at when you said that the reforms he undertook should have been implemented during his second term, not his first term. Because of people like Bola Tinubu, a number of Nigerians like myself have lost confidence in the country. The country, as we are speaking right now, I'm of the belief that it is beyond redemption. No man, born of a woman, can redeem Nigeria from the present predicament we are grappling with. Anyway, that's that. I'm interested in the educational development of the country. That is why I've developed interest in the should I call it the show of shame of Mr. Daniel Bwala, who is also a journalist in a way. The kind of education we give our children these days is so wishy-washy to the extent that we now lack men and women of principles in the country. I cannot blame Nigerian journalists for whatever is going on because you cannot give what you don't have.
Yep.
The kind of training they received at university is what they are displaying. As I said on this platform some time ago, all the professions in Nigeria have been bastardized. The medical profession, the legal profession, actually, which I now refer to them as senior advocate of nuisance. The engineers, the build houses that collapse. I mean, there is no profession in Nigeria today that can stand its ground. So journalism as a profession is no exception. So I don't see why we are we are concentrating on the journalists alone because of what Bwala did. We are not condemning Nigerian journalists. I'm a teacher by profession. I have the experience of working with some Nigerian tax members where I'm working at the moment. I'm sad to say that even a professor, I will not mention the fellow's name, sent her question papers, and it was discovered that the papers contained grammatical errors. This is a tax member sent by the Nigerian government to help the government of a particular African country where I'm resident at the moment. So things are terribly bad. And my opinion is that the country, there's need for us to dismember the country. In history, human history, empires have come and gone. Babylonians, the Persians, the Assyrians, the Ottoman, the Ashbad Kingdom, Egyptian, and you name it. The mighty Soviet Union collapsed. India and Pakistan were separated. Bangladesh broke away from Pakistan. Ethiopia, Eritrea broke away from Ethiopia. Bosnia and Herzegovina, Czechoslovakia. The list is unending. If we cannot organize ourselves together as Nigerians, there's need for us to look for alternatives. Nobody consulted us before the country called Nigeria was created by the British in 1914. So if we are not compatible, why can't we go our separate ways?
You can say that again.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm wasting so much time. If you look at the way Awolowo, you mentioned his name passively not long ago, the way he organized the western part of the country, which I used to belong because I'm from Benue State, he had his own unique ways of doing things. If the man had continued, the western part of the country would have been different from what it is today. The eastern part of the country, they had their areas of interest, maybe commerce, industry, and what have you. They would have developed along their own line. Then the northerners would have developed along their religious line. But fixing this concussion is what is creating the formidable problems we are grappling with today. However, thank you so much indeed. I would like to thank you in bad English, if you don't mind.
It's okay. English is not our language. We don't care.
Thank you very seriously. Thank you very seriously.
Thank you so much. Me, I used to say thank you plenty because when the thing is so much, I just forget so much. I just like, thank you plenty.
Okay.
Rudolph, did you want to say something? Or you want
No,
me to
no,
just-
no, no.
So I'm going to take it up on what I meant by what my statement about President Tinubu. I was mainly referring to the fact that the reforms that started on the first year of his administration are things that politically, the political playbook is that anything that will make people not like you. It's like dating someone or you want to get married to someone. You show them on your fine side first. Okay? There's somewhere in the middle, you begin to unravel. The political playbook everywhere in the world. My master's was in international politics. Is that you have a soft landing. You do soft landing. You don't start implementing reforms from your first day. But he took it up as a challenge. You know, Buhari, what we were hearing was that they had already moved. Part of the deal was that they removed the subsidy and then he had to take over and then implement, or he removed it himself. Well, it doesn't matter. It got removed. That needed to be done. If you ask economists, they will tell you that the reforms were necessary. Our books were not balanced. There were people who were enjoying the benefits of the subsidy at the expense of the rest of us. So, having said that, it's implementation and planning. And historically, Nigeria has always never been able to plan for anything, in my experience. Even the simplest thing, say they want to close the road. See, when they close Third Mainland Bridge, the entire system just goes nuts because somebody is not everybody. But leadership is always the problem. It's like it is inverted. There are people who can do the job. Don't get me wrong. It's just the opportunity to let the right person do it, put the right people there, and then like that, what is there to close bridge, redirect traffic, and then you stay in traffic for a whole day? Is it that somebody is not thinking? So that's what I was referring to by political suicide. The career suicide. But I think the play there was to say, I mean business. I really want to do this. Even my predecessors would never have done it, and that's for me signaled and to the international community. Not that they matter all the time. It's this guy is about to touch a nerve. Let's see if he will succeed. And a lot of people fail at it. So that's what I meant by that. Rudolph.
Yeah,
All right.
that's the educational system I'm talking about. The man lacked critical thinking. Those working with him, they lack the ability to think critically. How do you close a bridge without making, anyway,
But that was regional government. See, that's another thing with the presidential system of government and Nigeria that I don't understand. When I see the average reporter reporting, they're all talking. I'm like, dude, you have a governor, you have a local government. Before anything gets over to Macron or gets over to, there are people in the middle, but we forget that. You know, while at the end of the day, the buck stops with the president, there are people in the middle. And sometimes I hate presidential system of government, but don't listen to me. I just feel like we forget that part all the time. But nonetheless, I'll hand it over.
All right. Thank you, Shewa. Let's go to Webolo 2028. Ovie, welcome.
Oh, sorry. And I didn't ask where Mr. James was joining us from.
James?
I live in the Gambia.
Oh, so I spoke about your president.
I don't involve myself in their internal politics. So
Adama was very interesting. He was an interesting guy, but let's leave that. Okay. Rudolph, sorry.
All right, no problem. Ovie.
I'm sorry, I didn't know I was the second here. My question is very simple. So, elective or electoral office or appointive office, and when?
What did you say?
She knows. She heard me.
Oh, okay.
So
Me?
yes.
They will just carry me away with this my mouth. I don't think I can do politics. I really don't. I think I would be great on the side. I think I would. I have plans at some point to do political communication and strategy, because that's very important. It's a big thing here in Washington, in the United States. Everything is nothing is assumed in politics. The shoe you wear, everything is saying something. I remember when I was reporting in Kenya during the elections, and I love bright colors, and I wore orange, I wore yellow. One was for the opposition, one was for the so the what's his name, the one who won now, it's going
Jubilee, William Ruto.
Ruto's party was yellow, the border. So I remember my producer said, "Madam, get a plain color, because you don't want them to think you're reporting." I said, "What?" He said, "That yellow is for that." So everything in politics means something, and it's crazy. And I learned so much putting boot on the ground and reporting across the board. So I could help position candidates in how things are done and things like that. I've always wanted to do that, actually. But for me to run, it's not going to work. Never say never, but
That's selective.
because even emails, even conversations that can be had over emails, it irritates me when we have to have a Zoom call over it. So imagine working in a bureaucratic system where everything is just, I'm a very radical thinker. And so I will, unless I have a space to upset systems, I'm rebellious in that sense. If I get into a space and I make it efficient, I'm very resourceful. And bureaucratic systems want to remain the same because that's what systems are supposed to be. And it's not just in Nigeria, it's everywhere in the world, because that's how they're set up. It's retaining the originality. And if they want to change, they have a system still that helps them shift. That's why most Nigerians who are very brilliant go into government and they stay frustrated. It cannot be me. So I can be a consultant, I can help with efficiency, but to stay in the system and wallow, somebody is going to report me. Let me not say the rest.
All right. Thank you, Ovie.
Oh, thank you, Ovie. That's very kind of you to say.
Ify, you're next.
Okay. Good morning, Osprey. Good afternoon from here.
Yeah, where are you joining us from?
And I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, hi.
Hi. Okay. A little bit controversial because I'm going to tell you how I feel about things that are happening in Nigeria. That's okay. You'll be all right. Honestly speaking, I love my country more than anything. I'm sure you must have heard from other people in diaspora. We are here not because we like it, but we are here because of what is happening back home. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I heard when you said that Tinubu might not be totally blamed for everything happening in Nigeria because it has to start from the grassroots, like councillors, chairman, and the rest of that. But I might disagree a little bit. And the reason being that immediately Tinubu was sworn in, that was when the more hardship was inflicted on Nigerians. Everything skyrocketed. And since that time, it's going to 4 years, it has never changed. Sometimes they will tell you on this channel, I don't want to be part of Nigeria anymore. I want everybody to go their separate way.
Fair enough.
Because is Nigeria working for you? If I ask you, is Nigeria working for you? You might not go to straight answer because some of the answers you're giving, you were not kind of direct. I know you are trying to protect yourself. Understandable. But if I ask you now, do you think Nigeria is working? Are you going to just a yes or no answer? Can you answer that?
I don't think it is working. Because if it is working, I would probably have my practice at home.
Do you think that Tinubu deserves second term? Yes or no?
Do I think
that Tinubu deserves second term?
The people should decide that. Has
Okay.
it? Because I haven't lived there in 4 years. In those 4 years, I lived there
Okay.
1 year, and amen. But what I'm trying to say is,
I
the people
understand you.
should
Of course.
determine what
Okay.
should be going on in, you know.
No, I know why I asked you that question.
Thank you.
So to be fair enough, I don't think Nigeria was supposed to be practicing democracy. It does not have no business anywhere in African continent.
Oh, so you
You,
agree with me when I said that radical part? Did you hear that part when I was saying? I mean,
yeah,
at first, the first few years of our when we came out of colonialism, I think we should have relaxed for get one leader, and people kind of we should have just waited and build institutions to help us rebuild first, and then consolidate, and then now move on. Because democracy, I'm sorry, democracy assumes that everybody knows. So two things: it writes on numbers, literacy. It believes that people know what is good for them and they will decide on it. It does that. So the good thing about it is this: that, however, it always corrects itself. Unlike when one man continues to go. So with all the issues that democracy has, because yada yada yada, it corrects itself. But it assumes that everybody knows what they need, and it is predicated on literacy. So person we hungry, they hungry. How we go take sabi? First, give me food. You see what I mean? The very basics. Once we have laid that, again, I go back to Lee. Once they've sorted the country, they've done all they needed to do. They were doing elections because the West was putting pressure on them. But of course, the election will be say, nah, Oga Lee go win. But eventually, when things were done right, and he knew people were now highly educated society, there was no way he was going. So when you see a country that suppresses good education, they don't want you to know. Because once you know, you will ask. Your number one fear of any society is an illiterate society. When I say illiterate, it doesn't mean that you go to school alone to do 2 + 2 and your mathematics is good. It's that cognitive, general thinking of asking very poignant questions and questioning things. When people started to question, and they were, the society was getting bigger. Lee was smart enough that, Madauga, it's time for me to go. Because otherwise, there's going to be, what's it called now? An uprising. Because the people have now become so smart. What are you going to tell them? So,
yeah, I quite agree with you. But my concern as a Nigerian citizen is that we got our independence in 1960. Up until today as I'm talking to you, I went to school in Nigeria, studied accounting. I went to UNN. I didn't do anything with that because in Nigeria, for you to get a job is who you know or who you know. And I got an opportunity to be in this country. Started my life all over. Got into the healthcare. Happy with what I have. But I'm still asking myself, I just got off the phone with my brother, and he is telling me that, of course, we've seen it on the news, that they are still having, it's not that they're still having. He said the last time you left Nigeria, which is in December, that they were enjoying electricity. As I'm talking to you now, we haven't seen electricity in days. We've been buying fuel. And you know the cost of fuel. So my question is, what is our government doing? Because when I talk to people, they'll be like, oh, the war in Iraq. I said, please.
Before that time,
I said,
those ones are they will test your weaknesses.
Yes,
whatever world economy whatever world event, even when the Ukraine war began and then rice and other grains, millets and everything started going up, everybody was blaming Ukraine. I said, no, that any world event that happens now would test your readiness. What is already existing is leave Ukraine. Leave Iran. Because if our refinery was working, let me tell you what we're balancing out right now in Nigeria. So we still import. Dangote still needs to import what he will refine. Can you imagine? Okay, so he will be buying at the world market rate, and so he has to balance it out. Do you get what I mean? So that's if we have our crude and we're refining and supplying. We are not dependent on any global supply, which is what is supposed to be. What you call concern Nigeria, concern Iran.
That's right.
Okay.
All right. And anyway,
I don't like talking about Nigeria because you look at me, I feel like I'm in a boxing ring.
Yeah. I mean,
Even when I'm reporting Nigeria, I try, when I'm like for my stations and stuff, I try to not let my emotions, because then I become like this.
Of course, I understand what she's saying, because that's how all of us, feel like. Look at the upcoming election. We cannot even have free and fair election. I haven't gained or profited anything since I was born in Nigeria. I can't tell you this is what the government has done for me or did for me. I cannot tell you that. But I live in a country where I can tell you a million things that I've benefited from living in this country and being a citizen of this country. What do we have the most corrupt? And I'm saying that with no reservation, the most corrupt leaders in the whole world. No reservation. Our senators, I think they are the second highest paid senators in the whole world, doing nothing. We don't have healthcare. We don't have electricity. We don't have good roads. Forget about foreign policy, because we are nowhere near. Insecurity in Nigeria. People are buying every day. Then you ask yourself, do we really have a government in Nigeria? In your own opinion, if you face the camera and address the leaders of Nigeria, what do you think you would tell them about our country, Nigeria?
The government has failed us. Remember, I said that the issue we're having now is the contract between the people and the government does not exist. I think it stopped existing when Oga Rudolph, you've been in this world before. I keep going back to that. You will pass me. I didn't look me like this. I'll be bailing me out.
I don't suffer.
My point is, at least I left in 2016, and I make it a point to go home once a year. And I'm there 2 weeks. I've been they die to come out. While I'm there, I'm not one of those people at the airport that will say, why is there no light? I just stay there. People, they leave here, no light. So shut up. 30 minutes at there. I said, but I see people complaining. There's no, oh my God, this country is so this. And they're lifting up the bar. I understand it. And I feel it. However, it is we the people. And I know I'm here and I can run my mouth, but I'm not living there. When Venezuela was toppled and Iran started, the diasporans here carried placard. I looked at them in my head. I said, "Una do well, cause una see the crease. Una for go house." It's different, and with democracy, if that's what we still want, after so much of lost trust, what people just want to do is survive. And I didn't want to be that person. That's one of the reasons why I left. I want to grow. I'm always looking for an opportunity to put myself in a situation that will challenge me and grow. But even the challenge with Nigeria, do you get Nigeria? I don't want to put myself inside that one, because it begets how it be. If not for me. So when you ask me, is the government? I know there are people in there who are doing the best that they can, but they are outnumbered. So maybe they should dash us Kagame for a while, because it is the lesser of evil. After all, whatever they do, they get a result right now. But you see, when the foundation is faulty, what can the righteous do? So some of the suggestions about maybe we should scatter it, and we just must be ready to pay, though, because there's a price for everything. We just must be ready to pay. And I think, personally, if you ask me, I think I cannot pay the price, but I don't know if I can still pay more. The way I want to pay price now is to be sending money. Make it work and send money. That's my own price. Some people's price would be to stay in there and fight and not let us be divided and conquered. To move this conversation forward, I used to think the reason why our mouth is not together is because of the number of tribes in Nigeria. But I made a point about Singapore. You check how many tribes that Singapore has, more than as many as us. But it took one leader, visionary, to pull through. when the Hutus, the Tutsi and the Houthi and the Tutsis, did I get it right?
Hutus and Tutsis.
Even when I'm reporting, the thing used to do me. I call it once, I make sure I don't call it again, so that somebody will not come for me. It's not easy. He, even though he's still, you can see that Kagame is a little bit, people would accuse him that he panders to his ethnicity, his tribe, but you will see that Kagame is a Kagame of Rwanda, not of his tribe per se. Those are the kind of leadership that we need, that will channel the need of as a people, now boils down back to people. How that's going to happen, I don't. And I know we blame leadership a lot, but you know that the sum total of leadership is a reflection of also the people. At least the numbers. If we're looking at democracy, we're talking about this one, I'll talk it with my chest. We're saying that, oh, whatever is happening in America now is imported. The underbelly of America is what we are seeing in Donald Trump. They voted for him in numbers. It was not a mistake. That is the America they've been polishing for you for years. They've been trying to suppress it. We can be better. We are better people. So all the policies that they have done in the last, say, 10, 15, 20 years was to suppress that part. The underbelly. Now, do people like Obama exist? Do people like Biden exist? They do. But at this stage, they have now Donald Trumps of America have now become much more than them. So the way democracy is like a litmus test, it shows you it's not a mistake. So I've seen everyday people in Nigeria do certain things. So I'm like, you will be blaming the government. Now, government, do you do this thing? You eat, come up pure water for mouth, go to where I'm for gutter. Wallahi, beside a dump, what's it called now?
Trash.
A refuse, a refuse can, and they still put it. Why is it that poorer communities are dead? When you look, I think I'm veering off. My point is, there are certain things that are a mirror. When you choose, we're still in the minority. I think I should just put it. You, me, you, that, Ife, me, we're in the minority. It is also one of the reasons why I really can't stay too long. I've been restless for as long as I can remember. Because we're in the minority, how do we get more of us? It might take a generation. Because the truth is that the kind of leaders we have is the sum total majority of, I know it's a hard pill to take, but it's the truth. I will leave it there.
All right. Thank you, Fee. Let's go to KJ. If we have opportunity, we may give you a second chance, Fee, or anybody else. All right. Go ahead, KJ.
Okay. Thank you, Rudolph, for bringing Adesewa.
Well, that's my
the other one.
That one. Remember Adesewa Oyenokwe? She was one of my she was one of my mommies. She used to tell me that people insisted on calling her Adesewa. I said, people insist on calling me Adesewa. She said, we can just swap and leave it like that. But I think it means the same thing, but yeah.
Okay, I should think so, because I think you guys interchange names anyway.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you so much. I had to struggle to come listen to you because I was in a conference. It was very tiring, but listening to you is paid off. I mean, I'm excited. It's like watching last movie in those days of NTA. So I actually enjoyed it, and thank you so much for what you're doing. It pleases me when I hear that, out of all of us and everything that's coming there, someone can sit down and create something that is, it's not being copied from somewhere, and and I can assure you it's going to go around the world, and very soon.
Let me be like the Turks, inshallah. In Jesus' name, Jesus, amen.
No, I'm serious. I'm serious because having also worked on this media for a long time, I know one good story when I see it, and I know.
We gotta connect after this. Gotta connect. Gotta make it happen.
Yeah. So I mean, all the best. The sky is just the beginning, not the limit.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I also listen all, very well too. I just have only one quarry. That Tinubu Onan.
That's okay. I know.
But it's okay, I don't like him
agree
because,
with
he's been there. It's creating more problem we're going to face in the future. Because now I can, as you're sitting there, I can go and forge that your certificate when you go so far get there, I go forge and carry and go.
Colombia.
And it's not a crime now in Nigeria to forge, you don't know that. So it's become, we are not repairing, we are damaging totally. But having said that, also, two things I want to ask you. Okay, before I go to my question, let me say one more thing. The other thing that I've noticed and why I'm praising you is because there are many of us who work in that media who did not bother ourselves to know what is the actual practice. I know when I used to go around NTA to teach them what is ambient sound, and they wouldn't even understand what I'm talking about, But today, we see more professionals coming out from Nigeria and they know what it is. And so that's why I really, really appreciate what you're doing. Daniel Boala's own, I'm just going to take one small picture, picture default. You see, when you're going for an interview, that's how we call it sitting position, your posture. Now, if you go back to Daniel Boala's interview, you find out that he was sitting like one king, balanced that.
That's why they sit on the studio. When they come to me, they sit as if they're in their bedroom.
Yeah.
I say,
So, if you are going to engage in that kind of discussion, you take what is called the attack position. You sit and lean forward. So, whatever the person is asking you, you are. In fact, he himself sees that you're in attack position.
Did you see that? That's how Zeteo.
That's how he was sitting. That's how he was sitting. So, the very first time I saw, I said, "This guy is going to just, take this guy and mop the floor." So, these things when we were talking about this thing, they didn't think it was important. I don't want to go in there, but many of them didn't think it was important. Two things I want to ask you. The first one is, when we went to school, we are told that there's a difference between television and radio. So they told us that radio is just voice. Television is that you have the audio and you have the vision. But it's like the Nigerian system is turning it upside down right now, because you can just put on your television and the guy sits there and tell you all the stories. He tells you what happened in Ghana Bode, what happened in Midogri, what happened in this, and all in one studio. Nothing is so you are beginning to wonder: are you watching the audio or you are watching the television? They're supposed to see audio. They even answer the question of the people they are talking to. They tell you what the people said and what they're about to say. That's one question. Put it aside. Secondly,
you are finished. You are finished.
No. It's our question. We're not going to finish that. We'll just try to let them know what is available. Now, the Nigerian journalists that we know when we were growing up, that what made us even decide to follow that line is that they were fearless.
Yep.
Okay, and they could ask the pertinent questions that nobody will ask.
And it wasn't as if they were rich.
They were not rich. They were content with whatever they were doing. They were happy with the people celebrating them in the street where they live. Now, my question will be to you is, have the Nigerian journalists helped to advance the cause of democracy and governance in Nigeria? Or has it inadvertently decided to follow the politician and cuckoo bury the society called Nigeria, whereby nobody can be able to raise his head up? Because when you raise your head, you are given two titles. You are a separatist, you are a radical, you are non-conformist, you are an opposition, and you don't like government. Where do we now try to balance this act for the Nigerian journalists?
You have finished me.
Thank you so much.
Rudolph, can I goodbye now? Oh my God. Okay. I'll answer the second one with the personal story, because I know that everybody's journey is different. I know how I want to be remembered. I know what I want my kids to say about me. So I am consciously building something that will outlast me. So, and that comes from character. My character streams into everything I do. So while the principles of my work is there, the principles of character that can then be linked to how I grew up and the and the principles I want to guide my life. So all of this person you're seeing today is a combination of choices I've made based on certain beliefs that I have refused to compromise on. So I've left that caveat there. One of it translates into whatever I do, I have to do it well. I have to find the best way it is done around the world. If I cannot be the best, I have to be able to compete around it. My competition is me. It was why at the height of my career in Channels TV, I decided, yes, you will go into banks, everybody knows you, so what, okay? I started doing stories that took me abroad. Some of the biggest stories at the UN, I was posted there. Then I asked myself, what next? How else? If this talent that you are now, everybody say, oh, Adesewa, if you take it abroad, will you be able to compete? Who are you there? So I put myself in that position to grow, uncomfortable. But this is me. When I was home, just last year, I worked with a TV station I'm not going to mention. And if they're watching this, none of the things I'm about to say is a diss at anyone. Hardworking, very fabulous people. But Bible says when the foundation is weak, what can the righteous do? So you see that thing you were saying about people would just be talking, and I remember I used to fight. I was like, where is the we call them output producers in all the places I've worked. Like, why is it that the covers are not reflecting the thing? This is fundamental. And I became the bitch basically for just the things I learned before I even went abroad. So when we're talking, and then the average journalist now they're very thin-skinned. I'm not to say that all those our old guard editors were very nice people. I have one editor. When I'm on air and I've done something stupid, he will come on air and lash me. There will be tears in my eyes. May I never find that kind of editor in my life again, but I'm just trying to tell you that the space for rubbish was this thing. And I wasn't doing rubbish. I was trying my best. But in the midst of trying, the person will walk into the studio and just lash me in break. By the time break comes, my eyes will be laced with tears. Yet I still have to go through it. But I told myself I rise above this. But again, don't forget, this traces back to me and my choices. So that when I do, so that when tomorrow somebody will say she's just lucky, be fire burn them. If I'm lucky, you say go and lucky. All the things that I've done, go and lucky. So we have a problem. The problem is just that commitment to self-development. To say you would take what you've been given and make it your own, which was, I know that was what I did. So I was home and I would say, the covers are not meeting. Why are the covers different from the script? Why are you regurgitating? Why can't you write a script? Why are you copying and pasting? This is plagiarism. Why? And I spent days and hours saying why, being upset. Because how do you fix? You want to fix something. You're plucking the leaves. Go and cut it down from the root. If I will fire the entire newsroom and I rehire and close down the station and train. But you need money to do that. So we gotta keep mileage it. Please manage us. Don't be angry. Secondly, what was the second question? Because that first one kicked my ass. Please unmute yourself.
Unmute yourself.
What was it you asked me again? Sorry, the second one
is on the role of the Nigerian journalist right now. Are we more of a plug in the wheel, or are we helping to advance this democracy from where we saw it? Because now once you write anything or you report anything that is not favorable to the opposition, you have become not favorable to the government. You have become an opposition.
Okay, so
things come after you.
In that way, let me that's the one I said I was going to answer with a question. I will be very coded about the characters. You can go and figure it out yourself. Okay, you're all smart people. You figure it out yourself. So I was very coded about this. And first of all, again, I'm so grateful for the platform I trained, because back in the day when you go for assignment, if John Moore here say you collect brown and blue, you go to salary and they go to your house. It was known amongst us that John Moore must not know that you collected the brown and blue. Now, once your job is done, and then or you go and cover a story, and you go chop rice as there, you go chop that rice forever. You go chop rice though. You go chop rice, go chop a breakfast, everything. So I just had you carried yourself like a representative of the fourth estate. And I normally, even in my personal life, I walk into a room as if I'm carrying my ancestors. I go in there like we are plenty. I didn't know before, but I stopped apologizing for the fact that I come in there and there's presence. I do my job well, as if it is more than this. I was at an AU conference just last year. I had begun the preparations for my show, my project called The First Ladies. Basically, it's about the first ladies of countries talking about their projects. And not just talking about their projects, the arc of the story basically is that first ladies are very pivotal to the implementations of the policies of their husbands. And even though constitutionally they do not have the power, they have real power in how they implement structural development. AKA, when presidents say, I want to stop maternal health, now in they go hospital, go see them. It's usually the wives. Now, if you have a crazy wife, that person can be a cog in the wheel, can destroy your entire destiny. So presidents who are successful also know how to use the position of their wives. I wanted all of that to come together with our the First Ladies series. And I'm doing this globally. So imagine you see, and I'm a news person also, so I can bring in like Michelle. I've interviewed the First Lady of Sierra Leone, and then and of course we'll make it newsy and make it a series, inshallah, HBO, Netflix, yada yada yada. So I was building that, so I went to AIM. They have an umbrella for First Ladies because I wanted to enter in there. It would help us plan and find and book. After all, now I see one First Lady for there. Again, I will not mention name. Figure it out yourself. Then, because some people were actually saying that I was you are being cocky. I said, don't fire you. I go Colombia. I don't work all this my life. Somebody wants to disgrace Unare Grace. But so after the meeting thing, because it's funny. Some people will see you is when they see you abroad that they respect you. So in that meeting, they knew that I was not a stray dog. I must have gotten to that meeting, that is to say, somebody without shouting. And generally, that's the kind of influence I love, the unassuming one. I don't need to shout. Why do I need to say it when I can show you? So I'm in there, finished my meeting. I'd spoken to the secretariat. I said, this is the project. They were all happy. This person had just become one of the executives. Again, I'm not mentioning names. So it's a global place, right? All the first ladies of Africa, they were there. I won't tell you this next sentence because you'll figure it out. So make it not come be say.
Peace.
Peace is fine. I said last year. So peace is fine. Peace is peacefully at peace. Now I can't ask them so that the presidency will not be like the presidency of the organization will not be, because of course they always still associate you with where you're from. So I can't they go to farms. They can't tell me say this is how to approach. Is a shy approach. Person look me. The questions they said this person will ask me. I did the right thing. I was very respectful as a well-cultured girl. And I said, Ma, I just want to, I'm doing this for the body. The president has already agreed, and I thought I'd introduce myself, yada, yada, yada. So, I really would like to book this thing. That's okay, just speak to the, I should not speak like the person speaks again, just speak to the XYZ, blah, 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 blah. And by the way, give her $1. Let her go and shopping. Okay, I like dollar. Man, no lie. If to say, then I for collect them. If to say I don't finish my work, say, the entire world was there. The entire world was there. Again, they brought me up well. So I did not say, so I smiled. I was keeping it down. So I followed this person. I can't follow, I can't say. Remember, whoever say, man, they go bring the light. That one don't they don't circle. So ideally, as I say, say, when you want to distract a chicken, you carry the corn, throw it far. The chicken will run that other side. So I no can run towards where corn dey. I follow. I say, mommy. So I just want to be sure that I have booked the. She look me. She look back, say I still even there. She say, so you don't want the money? I say, as you're rejecting my money. I said, So at that point, I'm so staccato, I don't know what to say. Let's be warned here. I did not reject money. In my village, we don't reject money. I never work. What are they? I don't understand. It's confusing me. Plus, you don't do that to me. No. But that was not the point I was proving. So again, remember, I trained with the old guard. I'm supposed to go after my story. Which was, my brain was so wired that I just went after my story. I was only able to analyze this in retrospect. So naturally, I propelled back towards my story, which was what got me into what could have been like some stupid trouble. So this madam just kept saying, turn around to everybody. Can you imagine this one rejected my money? Then up till she got to her car, she would turn back, she would still see me there. I was just like, if to say I am I was like, oh no, the grace. I still didn't do that. I was like, she kept saying, Shebi, you say you don't want my money. Why are you following me? Madam, I'm not asking for money. That story I ask you for. And if I did this story well, this story will give me even more money. So hello. So and that went. So I told an auntie about the story. I said, don't worry, we'll fix it. Something happened. I had to be in that because if I tell you these people's story, you probably know who it is now. So I go into, somebody had died, somebody in the politique died, and this person came to greet this person. I have gisted with the auntie, and as I entered into the distance, she said, stay here so that when she passed, she will see you. We will resolve the issue. You people have lived abroad for too much. Maybe abroad things is the frequency is jamming. We help you to tune it very well. In short, my head is not correct. Okay, no problem. You have to submit yourself to culture, which was what I did. As soon as I entered, the entourage, when they thought to make the go carry dollar for me, say they only whisper, say, see person will reject madam money. See person will reject madam money. I saw them whispering this and I greeted them. Hi, how's everyone doing? Now so she see me. So auntie was saying to her, so remember I have a very wonderful mentee. Remember my daughter, but whatever. She saw you in Ethiopia this day, blah blah blah. She said, that one will reject my money. She remembered that was. And at some point I'm like, how should I behave? To cut the long story short, the auntie still said, look, find a way to appease her, and just, I don't know what she's upset about. Maybe she felt disrespected, so she asked me to kneel down. Do you know how tall I am? Do you guys know how tall I am? Okay. So outside, the only thing that worked for me was there was no, I mean, this happened like a year ago, so the fact that the clip was not everywhere, I'm so grateful. I knelt down. I'm a good girl. If you're a Yoruba person, my mother taught me well. These are elders. So I knelt down. To my chagrin, please, is that the word? You can fact check me because I know This woman turned around and said, "Get up!" That was when her ginger came. I felt like slapping her. "You're mad. They told me to need that for you." She said, "Get up. Get up. What is wrong with you children of nowadays? Do you think it's the work of your hand that will get you to where you're going?" In my head, I'm thinking, so far, so good. Wait till I do now. And at that point, even the person that was trying to teach me to do it was confused. Like, maybe there's more to this. So I got up but I stood my ground. And in my head, I'm thinking, if when Michelle Obama is doing, is that time you people beg me that you want to be there? Eh? Okay. So do you see where I'm going with this story? But I can do that because let me fly myself come Ethiopia. Not because them pay me. You know, I have some level of agency over my finances, which comes back to some of it for some people is just, but the other time it's like T-show well, but you're gonna, I mean, you're the Yoruba I'm speaking, you probably don't understand. Like, and I did that foundation that, you know, when I was starting out my career, I told God, please, when I work, let it be enough so that I won't be lured like that. And you know, to a lot of people, I mean, to the point she made, you know, that I probably, you know, that's how it is done. And who the fuck are you? With all due, Rudolph, you cut this part, come on.
No, actually, you know what I was doing while you were talking? Very interesting. I was looking for the picture we took when we met in New York. I can't just find it. So,
you couldn't find it.
Oh, you are, because to imagine that you. So this is interesting. You know, sorry guys, I will come back to you guys. But there's something I think, because I've had that experience, similar thing, that I can't even tell my own story on air. But there is something that I think that happened here. And that's what people don't understand. That money she wanted you to take, what do you think that was? Was it for you to get away?
No,
Was it for you?
Tradition.
Huh?
It's tradition.
Tradition?
It's tradition. Yes. So generally, and that's why I was very open with you guys. It's not unusual that when you go do interviews, even with private sector people, the ones who respect you, you finish your interviews as a way to say thank you. They would either send you a car or send you this or give you a package. I'm being honest here. And if anybody is, I'm being honest here. They will. Now, my father was a cop. Again, I'm going to private. And one of the things he was known for was that he's late now. He died more than 20 years ago. And he was very strict. He would do his work. And one time he was facing difficulty with another colleague because my father would come and say, I would do my investigation. I would not be influenced. I think when they were having the conversation with his wife, my mom, and I would be hearing. And I would not listen. But if I finish this, when I finish this investigation, whoever benefits, if they come to me tomorrow and say, okay, thank you, say, I will collect it to my food chest. Because when I was doing the investigation, I did not let anything. So if you come, and don't forget, the police were still going through what they were going through then. My father was open with us that when he's doing his investigation, he will not collect. When the investigation is done based on facts, and he has not diverted the destiny of anyone because of some money, if somebody, he said he will collect it in the middle of the police station because he feels he hasn't done anything wrong. I grew up in that kind of home. So coming back to you, what usually happens, even when, say, you are doing a project that is private sector, and you're interviewing CEOs. Okay, so let's forget about hard news. You're doing CEOs, where the stakes are lower. You're just doing your stuff. When you finish, it is in the culture that the CEO might take you out to dinner. They do it here now. It's just our own is so rudimentary. It's obvious. Please, what is lobbying? What's lobbying? institutionalized bribery and corruption.
It's exchange of money, of course.
What are we talking about? You are
Through
influencing
indirect
people.
way. Yes, yeah.
Thank you, KJ. So the only thing is our own. They will put hand from pocket and then advertising. Go and give $1. This is hard news. Jesus. I was like, Jesus. So I just thought, and that was, no one has ever done that to me. I do my job well. I do my, and I don't expect anything. If I then get home and I see a bouquet of flowers saying, thank you for stopping, I would take it to my full chest, decorate my room with it because I did not do anything wrong. So I think I put that in the context. So, but that answers your question. But in a case where you're investigating something and the person who the axe is going to fall on is sending you money, Makachukunde, what is that? You're about to compromise, you know what I'm saying.
All right. Okay. Because see what's confusing to me. Typically, they try to buy you because you're not looking for. It's not like you're trying to confirm a story or you're trying to.
But because it's what they do, they're used to it. When journalists show up to them, they see them as hungry fools. Just tell them. I also think that. Oh God, I've given it away. I also think that if so I know how Reuters operate in Nigeria, especially. I don't know how they operate in other places. I think in general, this is how they operate. No matter what, you know how you want to go, they send you a car. Reuters will say, no. Don't send us car. Don't send us water. We don't want. Because tomorrow we'll write a story now that you don't like. You say, but I give you water. Which is the standard. Don't give us water before. Don't give us water after. We have it. Now that's an international level. I've practiced in international journalism now for over a decade. I've learned that whatever I have earned has sustained. Do you understand? You don't go to assignment hoping that somebody will give you a brown envelope. Your wages are paid. You even get per diems when you go out. So everybody wants to be out because you got to get some per diems. But basically, that's what I'm trying to say. That you are in a profession that you have money. You're okay. It's not that the salary will not even come in 6 months. Please, who will brown envelope? I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying I like to be very sincere.
Thank you so much. This is wonderful, TP. Let me just say, in addition to what you said, people don't know this, that when the president is traveling here, Trump or Obama, whoever is the president, and the media that are traveling with him, they pay for their ticket, even though it's Air Force One. Because
you don't want your stuff to be controlled.
Yes. So that's how far they go to make
They go because they don't want the yes. But again, remember I've been part of the pool at the White House when Obama was there. I was one of the journalists, 15 of us from Africa that reported there. There are little things, the place they put you up in, they upgrade you to things, you get those fluffs. But so that you will not drive people crazy, they have the principles, but there are ways around it in the sense that they look after you to make sure that you're okay. But you will pay. I remember going for an assignment and we were should I be saying this? I will not mention. I remember saying, and you want me to come back with a report that is the standard of my journalism with this thing that they were ferociously expecting a person inviting us to. I said, me? I'm not trying to blow my trumpet, but you will never do that to me. You will pay everything for everything. We're not asking them nothing. But so it's hard though. Journalism in Nigeria is hard, so
Thank you so much. This is I like this frank conversation for people who a lot of people are asking questions on the comment about your hair and everything. But let me show them this picture. This is the first time I met you in New York.
Jesus, why is my face yellow? Doctor, that means I blame you. Why did you polish this thing?
Polish?
Dr. Damages, you'll be fired for this. Why?
All right. Okay, I don't remember the year, but that was
the young has grown.
Yeah.
Let's go to Bumi.
Bumi, go ahead.
Oh
Good
God,
day.
that's ridiculous. You have to send me that photo. That's insane. I've not seen that photo before. Okay.
I
Good
said
day.
Angela will kill me. Yeah, Bumi, go ahead.
Yeah, good day, Mr. Rudolph, and good day to the guest. And happy Mother's Day to all the women
Called my mother's name.
and the mothers out there who celebrate on this day. When I was listening to you, you mentioned about your co-host, if I'm not mistaken, I think the granny that talked about her experience with like World War II and the videos and how she couldn't keep on watching it. When you said that, the first thing I could think about was my experience when October 7th happened. Every time I would go on TikTok, not TikTok, sorry, Twitter, almost every second post was about what was going on in Palestine and Israel. And at some point, because like till today it's still happening, at some point I saw myself getting used to seeing pictures like that. You know, being used to like seeing lifeless bodies and everything. And for someone who hasn't like experienced war, and I think the most or the craziest thing I've actually experienced would be COVID. If I haven't experienced that, but to an extent I have a perspective of how that feels like, and I'm constantly being shown that, I realized I was getting used to seeing pictures like that or images. And I was getting desensitized to like things like that. I guess for me, and the question I have is, when we talk about, you have so many experience with like reporting and with people and everything. And I think Mr. Redop, you can also come into it because you also have experience. I guess it's I want to know what you think about like how that affects people's reaction to a story or to the whole concept of change. Because if people are getting used to people dying, and I find it ironic because we have a society that now, people who are for like anti-abortion, which is ironic because we have people who are for protecting life, but we live in a society that actively is comfortable with
people dying.
losing their life. How does that affect people's reaction to like a story? Or how does it affect the concept of change? Because if we're easily okay with people dying, what exactly affects us? Or what's that click to get like that emotional connection? I guess, what's your experience? And maybe you can also say it because you're in the story almost every day. You've heard thousands of stories that I have probably never even heard of. So how would you say that?
It's a brilliant question you've asked me, and you're forcing me to look deep, which is good. First, let me ask you, Bumi, where are you joining from?
From Europe.
Okay. And what do you do? Do you mind me to ask? What do you do actively?
I work and study.
Okay. If I'm being honest with you, at some point in active duty, I got very desensitized and tired. And I think I got depressed also. And I just wanted all of it. I wanted to take a break. So, Rudolph, you have your answer. I just needed to, it was too much. I have a mind. I have a photographic memory. So what I see, I cannot unsee. What made television very powerful at the very start was the vision. Because there's something about the eyes. It feeds your soul and it archives it there. You see radio, they're both powerful, but I would argue that if you can be a presenter on the radio, you'll be a really good storyteller. Because with radio, you have to describe in such a way that make people imagine. So the work is harder. However, with television, you need to say less and put the picture. They say a picture says 1,000 words. What that does is it sends your imagination in all kinds of direction relative to the aptitude of your mind, how well trained your mind is. The interpretation is then left to whatever. What my mother will see, and see, God forbid, sees those, I want you to hey, she will relate it to her experiences, maybe in the village and where she's coming from. When you see it, which makes it even worse. And that's why I was able to connect with her when she was telling me the story yesterday, that in a way it was kind of easier when she sees what's going on now, that all they had was the radio. They will come around the radio in the evening and listen to a war reporter who gives them everything they need to imagine. So the imagination in a way was limited to everything that reporter could put together. It is not like as it is happening, the blowing up, boom. It's like the panic. So I'm not making an excuse for governments who, when they say they shut down the internet, they know what they're doing, because all of a sudden you don't even want to go to Dubai at all ever again. You think everybody there is dead. That's the power of television. Now, going to the part where people are now become desensitized to it, if we're saying we're trying to change something, that started happening about 20 years ago. I think I read a report at 15. I read a report that says that people got tired of bad news. The kind of stories that now began to sell, were stories of against all odds. We call it solution journalism, where even though it was hard, it had, which is the story of human race, of human being. It had, it can't jam up. Everybody wants to be inspired. That was when all those spiritual started growing. Everybody started telling their story. Since I was born poor, now I'm rich. I did like this. Because our frontal lobe, we were jammed with so much bad news, and it was tested. It was tested that bad news, it's called poverty porn. It's the 3 top pictures of any good story starts with either blood, somebody crying, or poverty, or accidents. Like once it jams, you're like, what is this? You watch for a few days and then you're like, but our brain, the way it is wired, is now saying enough of that. And it's saying it across the board. So they flip to inspirational stories. I don't know what we're going to flip to next. I just got tired of it, to be honest. At some point, it was too much. All the stories and the people who were harvesting the story for us, which is the pool, Reuters, and all those places, they have a way of, they were the ones that set the agenda for the kind of stories that I wanted to have a bureau where our own reporters would be the ones to go and fetch our stories. But Reuters they were setting the agenda for us. I don't want to go down that route because, it takes a lot of money. Reuters has been there for how many years? More than 100 years, no? From World War I, Papa. So set up your own shop against those people. You go here one. Look, we don't enter them. My own is, I think I'll follow Granny Jane's. The less you see is better for now. Okay, Bumi. It's not that you should not know what's going on, but the barrage of it, you can control it. I don't know what's going to happen next, but I just knew I needed to take a mental break and do what people will now say softer stories. I'm sure why people say, "What's the grandma and Shewa?" I used to go to War Zone and go and report like, what is doing this girl? Leave me, oh. The brand is whatever I say it is. Leave me. So for me, yeah, that's how I'm going to answer that question.
All right, thank you, Shewa. For me, I have not been to a war front, but the one that I'm interested in is really something that people don't know. When reporters go to cover events, they may write a story or like Shewa do a TV of 5 minutes, but they probably spent 6 hours there. They probably saw more than, a lot of things they can't tell you. It's something that, so sometimes when I hear people, there's a story, breaking story, and people are interested in what they are reading, in the papers. I'm thinking about what happened.
What they didn't read. Yes.
What they didn't tell you.
What did make it to the cut? What did make the cut?
And yeah, exactly. And if you're a journalist, it's a privileged career. It's a wonderful thing. If I come back to this word, I'll do that again. You get the opportunity.
Please, I want to be wealthy. I've been doing it from my private jet. I've been doing.
You get to meet these people one-on-one. You know, governors, presidents, people that, and you see them when they are vulnerable, when they tell you things, but you can't go out and repeat it. I'm not going to come here and tell you, oh, I was with one king the other day, a very first-class king in Nigeria, and he was talking, and I was there. He was saying certain things, and they introduced me. They said, "Oh, because people don't know." They say, this is Rudolph. He's from Sahara Reporters." The guy just said, "Oh, stop!" No, I said, "I'm no longer with Sahara Reporters.
I'm off duty today."
Yeah, I'm no longer with Sahara Reporters. So, but what shocked me was that. So when people were taking pictures with him, I was talking. I went to him there beside him to talk to him. He told people, "Don't take any pictures." He didn't want that picture of me talking to him one-on-one privately to go out there. So there are many things that we hear and we see in the field that you don't convey. You keep it, because once you do that, you lose that credibility with political actors. You know, governors, presidents will come to you and say, this is I'm telling you this is who we're telling you, but don't report it. And you can report those things. So but anyway, it's complex. Journalism is complex, is interesting.
It's such a responsibility.
Yeah, it is.
But for me, did I answer your question?
I guess maybe my question wasn't fully understood.
Okay, please ask me again.
Okay, because I didn't want to keep on accent.
It's okay. I figured just by looking at you that you were like, okay. So
I'm gonna bring it down. For example, I'll use Nigeria. Okay. Mr. Rudolph, when we talk about this show, for example, you come almost every Saturday and Sunday, and we focus on Nigeria. Sadly, there's not much positive things to talk about Nigeria. But when you hear stories like 200 people in a village were slaughtered, another village being attacked, the concept of life loses its value. So I'm basically saying, when people hear that often, how does that affect their reaction to the concept of change? Because if that doesn't push any button anymore, how can you then involve change into this revolution idea? When it comes
we have entered the realm of neuroscience. Right? If I'm to answer that question well, that's neuroscience. It's the same as everything you've tried. It's like you're trying to do something with life. You keep trying and you keep meeting pushbacks, and all of a sudden, if you're not careful, your brain goes, "This is never going to happen again." When you are in that position in life, how do you shift it?
Exactly.
So I'll take it back to the concept of storytelling. There are many stories I've told that nothing happened. Nothing happened. You know? So, and that's why they taught us, your business, you're not an activist, which the lines are blurred by now. Do your story to the best of your ability with the people at the center of it, and hope for the best. The times you do it, it shifts a needle. The times you do it, it will just join the noise. Where I begin to worry in general is when the story starts to affect me too. And you're not supposed to, because then you are putting yourself into it. And that's not what the old guard taught us. Do you see what I mean? So, and that's where they take us through mental health, whatever, every time you go. So I went to Gwoza, very close to Sambisa Forest. Oh, we don't have that, my thing, with my helmet and bulletproof. We don't have those pictures. I went there. I was feeling like, because if you have not done war reporting, Ogarudov, let me shine small. If you have not done war reporting, and I guess I was proving a point to myself and a few other people who, for the longest time when I started my career, they're like, she's just a pretty face. What does she know? I'll take those comments and jam it on the head. I give myself another, tell myself I'm going to do it. So when I started turning those stories, I think the last deployment I went to, that I said never again. I didn't think it was worth it. Was Mauritania. Mauritania is the last place in the world where slavery, I think technically slavery is still being practiced there. Because, and I went there and I saw, I think I came back, I was depressed for 6 months. I didn't even know it was depression. Because nothing has, Mauritania is in West Africa, by the way. Colorism, slavery. I just said, so all the work I think I'm doing, changing the world, nothing is happening. I just lost it. I put myself through so much danger and nothing. Look at this, what rubbish. And I just stopped for a while. And I had to find another way to enter into storytelling to see. So again, it's neuroscience. And I see your point where after a while, you're telling the story, nothing is changing. How do we keep doing it? First, we start looking for other ways of telling it to make sense. Some people go, they're jarring. Now we're in the age of streaming. People they go butt naked just to get attention and change something. Like this is the era of we're doing anything to grab attention. And I think to bring it down is how do you grab that attention to change? For me, I don't know.
All right. Bumi, let me just show this. Maybe this will help.
Oh, this was so popular. God, I remember it so much. Sudan, yeah?
So this is Kevin Carter's picture. He won a lot of prizes. He went to Sudan and saw this baby starving, and the vulture was waiting for the baby to die.
Jesus Christ.
And as a foreign correspondent or any journalist, once you do your job, his job is to take the picture, and he entered the plane and left. But from what I heard, he was troubled about,
of course,
what is the purpose of my job? What is my job?
It's when I can't change anything.
What happened to this kid? Is the kid dead, or and that's how it is. Let me reveal a secret here. So I invite some guests here and they come and we talk. And the next day I say, thank you for coming, and I move on. The next day you start looking for the next guest. And I thought it was something only me. One day at Senior Hall was being interviewed, and the person interviewing him was saying, oh, you had this person on your show. He said, I don't remember that they came. I could not remember. And sometimes you do the job and you go. You are going to the next one, the next one, the next one. You don't have time to pause and say, oh, this story I wrote today, did it change anything? Did the government move an inch? Like the guy that we interviewed last few weeks ago about who has a case in Abuja, locked up in prison, a young reporter. I was just thinking about it the other day. Whatever happened to him? But then we have to find a guest for next Sunday. That's more important than what happened to him. So that's the nature of the beast. Journalism is not.
Yeah, but Rodolphe, if you don't mind, what Miss Josh is saying happened to me when the Liberian War ended. I had to go to Liberia to do. In fact, it was supposed to be a 2-week job, but ended up doing 1 month in Liberia. When I came back, I was not myself for the rest of the year because of what I saw. I spoke to General Butt Naked. I spoke to what was the other one? That very notable one, General Devil. Okay, and by the time we finished listening to their interviews, pictures, seeing what happened in the street of Liberia, I'm telling you the truth, Rudolph, you are never going to be the same. I left Liberia not knowing whether I was living or I was dead, or whether these stories were of human beings or they're not stories of human beings. Imagine somebody telling you that after buying the people, he cuts open their bodies and remove their heart and eat raw. Okay? So, for many people who don't know, some journalists are just, just like you said, will you enter a mode, which is just that auto mode? Well, you just pass and move, because anytime you dwell in it, it becomes a problem into your mental health, And I can, like just what she said, if you go to cover a war situation and come back, you're never the same. Never the same.
All right. Thank you so much. We're rounding up. We have 2 more people, Michael and Ibo Bezex. Michael, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Rudolph. Bumi, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm sorry. We didn't mean to scare you, but...
No. to be honest, I do agree with you. I just wanted to get your perspective to see if it was
Yeah,
something
well,
that
that's
landed
what it
Malcolm.
is. It's just
Yeah.
it's nasty. There are support systems. Colombia also has this trauma center. Actually, I won a fellowship with them one time like that. You know, they provide all this stuff to help us tell the story better. When you're feeling tired, take a break. You don't have to stop, but if you feel compelled to stop, you stop. It's neuroscience, and that's why I said, look, I don't know, I don't know. Okay.
All right, thank you. Michael, before you go, there's someone who constantly wants me to ask about the hair. And this is why I'm resisting, because, Chimamanda wrote about we're all feminists. And I've not seen a man come on air and somebody will say,
And is that girl on my hair? Is a man. Maybe they want to buy it for their girlfriend.
So
See me after service.
Shewa,
See me after service.
After service, see Shewa. Shewa will answer the question
Send
about
me an email after. I will hook you up. Okay?
Yeah. If
Thank
you
you
want
very
a hair
much.
for your All right, Michael, go ahead.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Dr. Rudolph, thank you again for allowing me for this platform, inviting me, and I'm glad you put me on. Adesewa, beautiful name. So you know the way I pronounce it.
You're
so good.
I'm so
Yeah.
happy. My head is bigging.
That's good.
Only me, Toby.
Yeah, Toby, that's good. Yes, I can see that. Yes, that's why when you say that you're about Moluabi, that's what it means. Yeah, the cultural aspect of it. We have to be a Moluabi. Yes, thank you so much for coming, and I appreciate you. I'm a journalist junkie because I like to read, but I'm not a journalist. But I like to listen to that. Even me and KJ always have it sometimes, because that's why a lot of times. So I don't come to KJ show because KJ is a little bit, controversial, but that's another day for that. So, Dr. Rudolph, thank you. All right, my question to you, you have said a lot, and I appreciate you so much being a journalist, because it's not easy. And Bumi says something, I think when you look at journalists, it's just like the other profession, because what you're going to say about the doctor that see somebody being cut up every day, I mean, so they have to have a brain to certain part of us to, like you say, mental distance that we have to turn off and do the job. My question to you that, because anytime I come to Rudolph platform, because I consider this to be our town's meeting, I always like solution to many of our problems, especially we in diaspora. I'm coming to I'm the neighbor to Rudolph. I'm from New York, so I live in New York here. So what will it be for us as Nigerian? Because I see we always bring everybody. I know about the identical politics. For you as an experienced professional journalist that have been talked to many of people in the world and see things in the world, and you have had the experience of knowing their opinion as leaders of this thing. Because I'm looking at this democracy, because I tell you what, I'm tired of people telling me about democracy, especially what we have today in this country. That is to me. But for the way forward in Nigeria, what is it in your opinion? Do you think that will work for us? Because you mentioned about Singapore. I know that, I grew up in northern Nigeria. I don't want Nigeria to separate, to be honest with you. I do not. I'm a Yoruba, but I grew up because when I look back, all my classmates, even to the University of Maiduguri that I did 1 year before coming here, they are all Hausas. And I have families who are married to Hausas, who are married to Igbo. Do we separate now? I got to get a visa. Travel to them, even though it's ECOWAS. I don't know. Maybe if we separate,
like
we're going
Ukraine and Russia.
Yes. So this is what I'm not advocating for my country to separate. But what can we do? Especially we in diaspora, as we have a platform like this, what can we put our brain so that when we meet some leader who will listen to us, which everybody can say anything, because I believe there are some genuine individuals in that Nigeria today.
There are actually.
Who are willing, ready to sacrifice, because I don't know if they go for advocate for revolution. Revolution is not cheap. There's consequences anything that you do in this world. So if we say revolution, so revolution of what? So that's in your own experience. Please put some lights on it for me. Shed some lights.
Sorry,
Thank
Mr. Rudolph. I actually joined to ask the lady exactly the question Michael is asking. So, in fairness
okay, go ahead.
Even though mine is a bit nuanced, but I don't know if I can talk, then she can.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
But of course, we're Africans. We like to talk. But apart from that, I would want to start by really saying that I admire you a lot. You really have impressed me.
That was not my intention, but thank you.
No, absolutely. I was battling in my head. First, I said she's a slow burner, but then in the middle, I changed it. Look, I think now I'm just going to stick with the fact that you remind me of the saying that don't judge a book by its cover, but I will even go for that. Don't judge a book by the first 2 chapters. Yes, because at some point I was like, a lot of people were talking about your accent, people were talking about your hair. Even me, I'm wondering, like, when you answered about.
You told me that it was just you and I in this. Lying to me.
In fairness, Shewa, you've discharged yourself excellently well. I feel so proud to think that we come from the same place for many reasons. Number one, there's something I like about people who are comfortable in their skin. Yeah, we may do a little bit of add-on and reductions, but when somebody is comfortable in his skin, you could see it. It takes a while for you to become yourself, but I really like the you that has finally come out. Very, very brilliant. I can see the cerebral capacity. The experience is showing through. Your self-confidence is undoubted. I mean, and it's very clear that you've paid a lot of dues in your own choosing career. And I'm very happy that clearly it shows you're doing very well. So the question, like Mike said, you spoke about Paul Kagame, you spoke about Singapore, even you touched about the fact that, look, before we reach the president in this presidential system, there are many. So it occurred to me that, okay, this lady, she may be a journalist, but she seems to have a lot of understanding about even the democracy, politics, and governance generally. So
nation building.
Yes. So the same question Michael is asking, I just want to push you a little bit to talk. I know maybe it's not your chosen line of, but can you talk a little bit about what's your take? I wouldn't want to say the final answer, whether it should revolve. What I would like you to talk about is in terms of the nation building, like you said, what is it that we are missing? Look at the present system we're operating. Do you think it's okay? Do you think we need to modify it? We need to throw it? I mean, I don't want to put you in a box. I can see you're not a box person. You are a very original person, which is that originality of your thought. I want you to bring to bear in this regard. I mean, it's difficult to, it will be difficult to, but I'm sure you're I can see your cerebral capacity. I'm sure you get where I'm going to.
I gotta watch me. And
by the way,
I told you that if journalism is not working, stand up.
When you started, the truth is that when you started, I wanted to do a media assignment. I started going to Google your video. I have seen that even Rudolph and Chido, they have done in 2022. They have done something with you. I've seen that you did a video where you are talking about one of your classmates in Colombia who was saying that like you were there because of affirmative action and stuff. But in the end, there's nothing we can't find a leg to hold. You've done well, madam.
It is what it is. Thank you so much.
Take it out.
Thank you so much. Okay, this is so I'll tell you based on I admire this country, America. I know there's a lot of crap about it, but there is a principle that continues to uphold it, which is grassroots organization. Grassroots. We tend to look at the look at when it is fully manifested. Okay, I take that back. We look at the top of things when we're supposed to look at the symptoms. Everything that eventually comes up on top has built up over time from the beginning, from the belly of it. I'll stop speaking metaphorically. There is the grandmother that I speak to, and I was asking her, what's going on and how they were able to change things over time in America. And she said to me, there was no roadmap. It's not like America has a written book somewhere. It's just people get up one day and say enough is enough, and they start to organize community. Communities come together, and it gets so big, it becomes a national voice that cannot be ignored at the top. When you look at what's happening in Abuja, you have to see the cities. This is not representative of what is happening on the local government level, on the video that Rudolph played, is it Abaka or was it Baka? What is the name of the community there that we saw the video earlier?
Oh, where what happened there in the video? Which video?
The video where the ADCs gathered together and
okay. Yeah, that was nowhere.
That was nowhere. When I see places like that, they exist. Those are the people who actually give the power to. Eventually, it is the total sum of those events that translates into who becomes the governor and then eventually who becomes the president. People forget that part, and our politicians know that people don't know that even when they must get elected, they go back to those people and engineer their thinking, engineer their stakes, make them think of what they would be losing and getting, firm it up with them, and they go up and sit down. And it doesn't take too much to convince those people. It takes resources. I think the diaspora can start to organize at a local level, which is hard. I'm afraid to still go to my village because of village people. But if we can,
there are two village people now. Which one?
Oh, they have branches now. They've been divided into two.
There are those that use voodoo, and there are those that will take you and put you inside the bush. Which are the village people?
You see now. You see, we have given village people also bad names. But nothing happens at the top that has not been stirred up at the bottom. Nothing. And this country has shown us that over and over again. And she used the movement, the civil rights movement. She explained it to me. She said, "Look, listen, we don't really like what's happening in the country right now with Iran." I said, "But I can tell you for free, people are organizing via Zoom in Minneapolis. Like, I should just wait and watch what's going to happen in November." Obviously, I'm a spectator for now in this country. But she was very convinced because she told me about the McCarthy era and the things that she said organizing is actually America's superpower. You go to the grassroots and organize because that's where you find the numbers. Nobody ever finds the number in Washington. The number is not there. The people who brought Donald to this top, you know where they are. They are in the Midwest and the places where it's not fancy. That's where the hard work is. That is why I'm still keeping my Yoruba so that just in case I want to strategize for, whoever wants to go there, I can blend in well and talk to the people. It is grassroots. It's hard because you have to identify with the people. This is what Donald does well. in spite of his money. He knows how to identify with his people. So we diasporans, as soon me speaking to my accent, my brother, it's survival. Oh. You know, I don't yap this accent totally for me, but I'm original, as you can tell. Listen, when you understand your market, it just comes. It is called code switching. Who knows what code switching is here?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know I'm doing it. So when I moved to Istanbul, all the Africans in the news were like, "Hello, Shele, where do this one?" But this one they thought saying come from New York. You know, so and I'm talking to this, well, where are you from? Like, I'm from New York, and I can see it's my fellow Africans doing this to me. But I was consistent because I knew I wasn't doing it for anything. I was just me. Now let me tell you, yeah. And that's why most people think that I'll be a great politician. It's just when I enter into the room, I mirror the room. I mirror the room to be able to say, I am one of you. Doesn't always work. But I think somewhere programmed in my head, you cannot get across to anyone that doesn't feel like you're one of them. I learned that in Istanbul. I learned that in Turkey. The Middle Eastern culture is very close. To be able to even crack it in, you must reflect. Whether it is by saying, Merhaba, nasılsın? The moment it will just open, language is powerful. They will just switch it up. When I was in Nigeria, my 1 year in Nigeria, when they were bringing me on board that project, apparently the gist that was going around is which accent did she go? In fact, one of them even came to me and said, please, we speak British English in this. I said, in my head, me go down. I didn't say anything. By the time I went on air, one of my friends called me from Turkey, said, which accent is that one? I said, I'm inside another market. Just leave me there. It is my time, what is it called now? I have teleported. Because that was what was needed in that market. It just came out. It just came out. So I think community organization, going back to the very root, and as a diasporan, when you leave, where do you go when you go home? Na Lagos or Abuja. If we're going to do anything, let's start setting up blocks. Choose 3 areas. So if you are like the 3 blocks, okay, so the north, the south, the middle belt, I said Middle East, and then appoint emissaries. And then when you have projects, please don't go on projects. And I'm not saying handouts, because the real change starts from how people think first about themselves and about their environment and the stake that they have in whatever is going on. That is when somebody will come to them and say, kill this person for me or do this person for me. When they realize that it is not in their best interest in the long term, they are likely to question why they should be a part of it. Until then, I'm sorry. And it's hard. And I don't know who can do it. I hope I question.
Thank you so much. We have one more from our dean over here, resident. But before that, I call Igbo Basics. For those who are still asking questions on the comment section, there's one about your height. Again, I'm not going to
Let me cause that one.
I will show
but I was slouching here. Are you taller than me, Rudolph?
Oh, yeah. This
picture of God.
Give you a hint.
Mama can do that. I'm gorgeous. I'm gorgeous. What do you mean?
That should give you a hint of how tall she is. All right, Igbo Basics. Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Deus, welcome to the show. And Dr. Damages, thank you so very much for bringing this brilliant young lady to educate us. Let me use that word. I've listened to most of your submissions, and I would say that I do appreciate what you have submitted here today. I really don't have a question for you, but I think my question will come in a conversation form. I listened to you talk about your father, and I listened to you talk about the principles on which your father, as a person in law, have performed his investigations and duties like that, taking nothing from nobody. It reminds me of one Justice Abayi Kweche. He's late now. They of that era. If you come to his court with bribe, he will jail you. But if you come with clean hands, you will go scot-free.
And in this era, I would just say a little bit about the same thing character that I point to Rudolph. I said to Rudolph the other day, can you run away from your shadow? Of course, the answer is no, you cannot run away from your shadow. So everything that we are seeing today, and if I pronounce your name wrong, please don't mind me.
It's okay.
Is a result of your parents, the character that you came up with from there. So that's no shaking.
Oh, absolutely.
That's no shaking. And it comes down to wherever you go in your travels, you well travel.
Thank you.
In all the assignments that you have made, they say a traveler most times or sometimes is wiser than old man with gray hair.
It's the best
because
education.
Because of all the things that you've seen. So you bring it to all of us. To me, what's in a name? Because when I heard about the Grannies, which is your program, the Grannies, and it reminded me of, like, I was thinking about Grammys, like in the Grammy Award. So that's what's in a name. It makes you think of what is
something else. Yeah.
But now it comes to the Grannies. And then when you talk about the focus on trying to tell the real stories, for me, what do I write? What can I ask you? I think you should be asking us questions.
Yes,
and
that's what I do.
And the reason why I say you should be asking us questions is that it's not every day that you run into people who are above 70. I'll give you a little bit of background so that it will be clearer. When I went to school, you have to do this in order for
my
you
mother
to be
told me
admitted.
that. Yeah.
If your hand did not cross, sorry, you're not going if you're too short. That was our time. Wow. This is our time. So we have now gone through all those eras. We lived through a war, okay, participated in a war, gone through what we call Afia attack market. Went through all that. So that's the blend of whatever you see today is everything that we have gone through to be where we are today.
Please, I want to have you on the show. Please, how do I send the camera?
You have to talk to Rudolph.
Okay, I'll talk to Rudolph.
Here is why I say so. As I speak to you, life experience, you don't buy it in the marketplace. I'll give you three snippets. I was almost eaten. Used for food. That was during the Nigerian Civil War. I escaped that because somebody recognized that I'm the son of so my mother. They walked away. The rest of them walked away. Somebody shot me twice. The gun did not fire. It was in recent time that person was confessing before the kings that this is what happened. I said, okay, that happened. And in modern times, I was kidnapped, that's the word you use, by a school in Aba during soccer times, during the good old days. I escaped that. When I tell my children that story, they say, oh my God, so you went through all that. Having said that, I go back to what's in the name, and I remember when you were talking about give her $1, I smiled. Because when they say give her $1, I thought about people like Ty Soloren. I'm sure you've heard that name, Ty Soloren, the headmaster with the character that we all admired. And then, of course, you know the rest of how the story went of Ty Soloren. Once they put a coat on him, it was no longer Ty Soloren. It became something else. So I look at all that and I say, with everything you've gone through, you can see our name is Igbo Basics. That's the name that we practice with. On Igbo Basics, General Joe Garba, who was a former UN ambassador to Nigeria, once said that he read our papers from cover to cover, and then when we met the next day for lunch, and he said that we were operating from a parochial point of view. That's who we are. We can't run away from our shadow. We try to run. We established Basics Express. BasicsExpress.com is still there. But still, what can you say? That's in the name of, say, Nigeria, because we keep talking about Nigeria.
Yes.
I sometimes, what can I say about Nigeria? Other than we are given a cup and a flag at independence, and we went through that, lived in the north, where they have standard 6 instead of standard 6 or 7 instead of 5. Went through all that, come back to the east, you are busted down, telling you your education is. So anyway, that's a long story. So it comes down to where are we today? Language. One of my relatives recently published the Nigerian Pidgin English Dictionary. And it goes back to the language or the medium that you're using to. A friend of mine, Uche Obuagu, maybe you've heard about Uche Obuagu, the man of bad condition, with his series. I looked at his presentations, and because he was presenting more like in Igbo, some English, some Igbo, English, it went that far. Okay, so but we are conversing in an English language because we are British oriented. Some of us, when we were going to school, we used to think along the zone, so
continue song glad tyranny, let the dance song glad elevate, let the dance song glad elevate.
My dear sister.
Oh, boy, on the boy, just go down the bar. Let's finish it.
And they are not tired yet. They haven't gotten tired. They tried to drill that into us to plant their seeds. It didn't quite work out the way they wanted.
In the West, what was General Usman or something then? I remember the governor of the Western region then.
Yes.
I took French.
Yes.
I'm so sad I lost it now. I took French. I acted in French. I went for French competition. I think French helped me also develop. I have story. I think I've been bearing things. You've just look at what you did, and you just brought all of that out of me. But anyway, that's let's keep it again. Cut it if you don't cut it.
the rest of what we call Nigeria, we are Nigerians until otherwise is said. I still carry my multiple green passport.
You can never come back.
That's who we are. For that. So, having said that, we have come here. We have brought up children whom you can marry and children who can be married.
Mm-hmm.
And amazingly, some of our children are speaking Italian fluently. That's happening. Yeah.
And Mandarin.
So, all kinds of language. And that's their era, the Gen Z era. So some of us who have come from the other generation and are still here are managing to use the cell phone, because in our time, there was no such thing as cell phone. In fact, there was wire. They had to call a wire. KJ knows he's from Uzuakoli. You have to wait. And somehow they passed through the messages we are going through.
Hold on, Igbo Basics. Are you telling us the truth? I thought you were using pidgin to deliver message when you were younger.
There's something I even forgot. There is the Mpuaka. There's the one that we used to. You go, forgotten how to do it, and which I can learn that again.
Please, you people not kill me.
Okay, Igbo Basics, we have to go.
There's many ways of communicating. So, after all that said and done, here are we today. And because of where we are today, when I listen to you talking about we should look homework and stuff like that, and how to invest at home and stuff to the village people, and all that is happening now. Let me put it this way. I am what you call a bushcraft practitioner. And when you hear bushcraft, some people's mind will think of something else. But I said a bushcraft practitioner. I don't believe in Lagos. I don't believe in Abuja. I lived in Lagos for quite some time. I lived in Jos. That's where I grew up. So I knew a little bit of that language. And of course, Omwahe, and the rest is history. So as we are today, looking homeward, after we've done all this, come and see America Wonder. Come and see America Wonder. This is the wonder.
All right. Igbo Basics.
Let me land.
Thank you.
Because let me land. So now, why am I saying this is this? When I'm done, which should be very shortly, I have my last daughter graduating from John Hopkins in a couple of months. When that one is done, then I can say to anybody, okay, let me now come and live my life the way I know I should live it. But now what I believe in what we call legacy projects. What are you going to give us?
And that's the grannies. That's what the granny is.
What for me? When we talk about legacy projects, if you can look behind, you can see this is Zebediah. I'm sure you know that name, or you've heard that name, or you haven't heard that name.
I've heard the name.
Chief Zebediah Okorigwengobe, alias 430. These are some of the people who, as we're still seeing them here, we're taking them for granted. But when they are gone, we will now say, like, is it Odegbami or the guy who the other day in soccer, Nigerian soccer.
Henry Nwosu.
Yes, Henry Nwosu. He just left the other day, and people are lamenting. But when he was alive, what did
nobody paid him attention?
What did we do for them? People like Zebediah are giants and can stand anywhere, any place in the world. But right now, Imo, Anambra, Enugu, Ebonyi, the East Central State, from here where he rose, and then up to Dr. Peter Ego, who made them who they became eventually. What am I saying is that this book was more than 40 years in the making, from 1984 to now. But this book, on April 30, it will be up in Amazon. It will be up in Amazon. Zebediah happens to be from Rudolph Okonkwo's
village.
Yes.
So you already have an assignment like that. You okay?
Well, what I'm driving at is that homebound as we prepare, just this year, the first thing, we have a project we call Mile 27, the Mile 27 project. We've just employed our first person at Mile 27 project in the village. It's from Enugu State. Mile 27 is a spot which KJ will know that. From Umuahia, if you are going to Anuchukwu, the sea, that place is exactly 27 miles. And if you are going to Umuahia from Abreba, Anuchukwu, or Hafia, you're going to Umuahia through the old Trunk A road. Trunk A, that's what they call it.
KJ can't stop. He can't help himself right now. He's dying of laughter.
From that spot to Umuahia, it's exactly 27 miles. So there's something unique about the place. But we have a lady who is taking care of the place now. In a few months, by the time the project comes alive, I'm sure Rudolph would like to see what it is, because it's actually a place where we are planting what we call Akukwofo, Oha, and Ontoropa, all those things. A massive scale for future, for posterity.
Igbo Basics.
So, my dear sister, I think I have had a conversation with you. I will simply say to you that all soldiers never die. All they do is they just fade away. And that's why I said, Rudolph, I have known Rudolph for years now. Before Sahara Reporters, there was Igbo Basics. We had several volumes of Igbo Basics that we were publishing monthly, quarterly, for years. And when we saw where journalism was going, we just said, you know what, let's put it up on the air. And that's where we are. Igbo Basics is our project that you can't buy us. I'm sorry. We will speak our mind. We will present it the way it is. We are taking pictures when people didn't have cell phone. In other words, it cost us dearly. So we have from Zik, Nnamdi Azikiwe, through, somebody saw me the other day, he said, are you from Nigeria? I said, yes. I know Anthony Nahoro. That's who he's talking about. I said, yeah, we saw him in New York. We took pictures of him. What am I trying to say to you? we have resources, we have assets that anybody who cares, understand, may reach out, ask for it. And since we are through Rudolph, you don't see us in other places here and there. No, that's not our style at this stage. If you talk to us, talk to Rudolph. Whatever you want, life is too short. Listen,
I just got access
dollar.
to the biggest archive of all times. That's
Money,
just it.
money cannot buy. Money
Thank
cannot
you.
buy everything.
Thank you
The
so
person
much.
who was talking to you and said, "Give her $1," the person didn't know who you were, and that's where they were saying, "Give her $1."
No, she
They
knows. She
think
was just being.
in their mentality is either you give her $1. Oh, she's a female. That one will go knock them down. In their mind, that's the first thing they're thinking about. What does it cost?
All right.
What does it
What
cost?
will it
Igbo
cost?
basics.
Okay.
No.
Sorry, I have to say this. Madam, are you anytime going to be close to Maryland very soon? No. Okay.
I was supposed to be in DC at some point in no longer March. It was supposed to be March, so it has to be after April because I've got a couple of projects coming up in April.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I go back and forth DC, so yeah.
Okay. Once you hook up with Rudolph, you hook up with everybody.
Yeah, it turns out that way.
Please, I got here.
Okay.
All right.
So my only question to you is in the preservation of the past, because we call ourselves a bridge with the past and the future. My only question to you is that with you, when you hear the name Zebediah, when the project is being brought out, because we are going to honor that man another way, would you like to participate, and if so, through Rudolph?
Yeah, I will. I would look at how the grannies can pay because I think I mentioned diaspora grannies, and we wanted to encourage people in the diaspora in Europe, in Africa, to film their grandparents and ask them critical questions. Before my grandma from my mother's side, my dad's side died, I remember my dad brought in a cameraman to record my grandmother. And he was the one interviewing her. And I'm like, what's going on here? This was like 25 years ago or so, or 30 years ago, maybe. I was probably 10. And I don't know where that tape is. I wish I could get my hands on it. So we're preserving. I'm very serious about this project. It's very dear to my heart. The UN is saying what I'm saying, except I'm creating content that fills that gap. And I can use all the support I can get. So we're going to do like a UGC style, which is user-generated content, and make it fun. So people will take their cameras, we tell them how to film it, and then I'll feature it on the show. And I know MNN is not a small platform, and as we increase, imagine us getting commissioned by Netflix or HBO to do a series in general about great men who nobody ever talked about, and just film these series with them. They tell their stories. We're getting there. The world is getting more confused, to be honest, and some of these men who are now passing away, men and women who are now passing away, hold the doors of wisdom that everybody's running out of scatter to find. And I always say that the graveyard is a place of so many untold stories.
Yeah, because with that, Rudolph, if you may indulge me for one more second.
I just hold on.
You don't have that one chance to do.
Hold on. The show, the Grannies, just is playing on.
It's actually
Spectrum.
premiering in the next 10 minutes, so I gotta put her on the TV.
Yeah. So
yes,
so,
if you have cable, and if you don't
okay.
have cable, please put the link on.
Okay, with that, Rudolph was saying, with that, I'll just say that as we travel along, we find out that we have things in common with certain people.
Okay.
For instance, Michael Jordan.
Okay.
I just realized that I have something in common with Michael Jordan. And what do I have in common with Michael Jordan? Yes, hold on for a second. North Carolina. Michael Jordan, I saw that when he met a son after 20 years that he never met before, because the boy was on a dying bed, and his girlfriend from before called him on the phone and said, please come. And he went. Check that story out. The commonality there is that I had a son whom I never met for 39 years. And where we met was in North Carolina. And that's a whole story of its own. So these are the things that when I know I have a grandson now also from that young man.
So you're a granny.
So you're a granny. All right.
That's where I
That's
go.
why
I
I'm
have
going to
somebody.
your camera so you can
Got
talk.
it. Don't worry. I
Okay.
got you. I got you. I got
Dr.
you.
Rudolph, why
Dr.
is the link to the broadcast?
I sent it to the chat group.
Thank
no?
you so very much
No,
for
you
bringing
didn't get it.
this brilliant young lady to our show.
I'm
Thank
sending
you.
it to the chat now. Did
Okay,
I?
yeah, send it to the chat, please. Thank you.
Yes. Can you
That's-
see it? It's already there. Or I
Okay.
can send it to your WhatsApp too.
Send
Let's
it
see.
to private. Okay, yeah, I've seen it. I will share it. Again, thank you so much, everybody that joined us. Yeah, Shewa, thank you so much. It's wonderful
Ooh,
to.
Rudolph, eh?
We said 90 minutes just to bring you
Whoa,
in.
as in,
But
yeah.
then
It feels like 90 years right now.
we make sure
But
that
no, I had a fun
we
conversation.
keep our guests for 3 hours. But thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you so plenty.
Next level of the project, come back and we will talk.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
And reach out, please. Of course, Rudolph knows how to get me. If there's any way you want to support and partner and things like that, we would, mention you on the show and things like that. So yeah.
And Mr. Rudolph, if she's coming the next time, I hope, Shewa, you'll be ready to share the balance of the 6 personal principles. You told us only one.
Oh, you wanted me to give 6? You wanted me to give 6?
Well, no, I think you have to go. But I'm sure when next you come, it's
Okay.
better when
All
we
right.
do it in piecemeal. We would value it.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for having me. I really am grateful. Have a great, great, great weekend. Oh, great week ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Shewa, and
Right.
I will talk to you guys.
tó fẹ́ kú torí ẹ̀ o. Ọwọ́ ẹni ló ti ṣàánú kọ́. Ayé la bá, ayé la fi sílẹ̀ sí. Ọ̀nà èyí yóò.
Okay, I hope you all enjoyed our conversation with Adesewa Josh, whose new podcast, The Grannies, just premiered on cable today. Next week, we will have another interesting guest who will join us on 90 Minutes Africa. I want to thank those that supported us today. I think I have Brick House Capital. Thank you. And AI Village Creation. Thank you so much. And then those that watched at home, we appreciate all of you. I have not been able to share some of the questions you were asking on the comment section, but we are coming up with a way so that you can participate more than just watching at home. So on behalf of all the people that helped me behind the scene, the executive producer and the writers and everybody else, thank you all. KJ, thank you so much for being here. Igbo Basics, thank you so much. KJ, you have an after show going on? Yeah, so there's an after show where you can discuss further the subjects and all the things that happened here today. Igbo Basics, it looks like you still have something to say.
Just my brother, I've talked enough. I have nothing more to say. Really, somebody was saying to me that we should come to Odibo to preview Zebrudayah's book, and I said I don't know about that. We'll talk about it, but we need to make. I wrote you something. I said, please get in touch. Let's see how we can fast forward because April is around the corner. Time waits for nobody, and I've done my bit. I've done my part. And the rest is history.
All right, that's true. KJ.
Yeah, Rudolph, you've done wonderful. You have really done wonderfully well with the guests you're bringing. The other thing is sometimes anyway today I the attendance is a bit fair, because most of the time people want to come for basketballs, they don't want all those, but it was good, and she is very brilliant. I never got to meet with her, even though I know when she was reporting for channels. And again, what she said, the other question I would have loved to ask also is, what's the difference of the John Momo of that time and John Momo of this time? Because John Momo took appointments with Nigerian Broadcasting Commission, and some journalists, if you talk to them at close quarter, they will tell us sometimes he also holds back from being the attack channel that they used to be. So what made people like Chamberlain become very milder than what they used to be? Because Chamberlain for me was one of the best those days, because he asked you your question without any malice. But today he holds back, and I see that his program is not that, he's somewhere, they try to break it. But again, maybe she's no longer in the system, she may not know, but I don't think the Momo of that time is the same John Momo of this time. I mean, no disrespect to him, he has earned his flowers. He is a very renowned journalist with a lot of decorum, but again, like I said, channels is not cutting for me right now. And people like contrary to whatever anybody says, even though sometimes it comes out a little bit brash, but Rufai still remains, the person, who asks what you want to ask, without, if I was his friend, I would probably, give him one or two insights, but that's the way we want questions to be asked, so that, and the people like Sewa makes it easy for you to know that journalists are also people who went to school. They are not a pushover. Nobody, none of us is a pushover. We didn't choose journalism because we couldn't do the other courses. I was admitted to the university to read law. It was me who changed my first degree to theater arts. Not because I felt I couldn't do law, but because I felt that was the call the God had me to do at that time. And I have never regretted. So why am I saying that? I'm saying to say that even the journalists they see, all of us, we can be pilots, we can be anything we wanted to be, but that's the profession we choose. And anybody who thinks that Nigerian journalist is not doing well as at now, please go and try and see, make you know how it be. Thank you so much.
Because my condition make crayfish bend.
All right, thank you, Rod. Thank you, KJ. Thank you, Igbo Basics, and I will see you guys on Saturday next week.
Thank you.